Yes, people, big up on yourself. Welcome back once again. It's been quite some time now since we've done a live video, but once again, back in the building. Welcome back to the Reggae Boyz Weekly. Today's live show will be centered around a yearly review, a recap of the Reggae Boyz for the 2024 season of international football. Joined by the man himself, Bukayo Saka, who is out injured for 2 months. Big up yourself, top left-hand corner. What you do with him? I say you just got through a surgery. How is that? Road to recovery by when you return?
Brother, just ease yourself and stop watch on my side, brother. I'm notice you from what you know. Stand alone here, watch out and try to take out the anger from my side, you know, dog. Just go on, brother. What side go back. You know, see what slap way. We have a victory for a little New Year celebration, you know, dog. Remember, it's the last you have, you know. So just remember that, my brother.
Yeah. Top right-hand corner, Premier 7. Big up yourself. Movie Premier Boss. Done big sing and high place. What you do with it? Mr. United. Maybe the press with you. Them take you to hospital because United has stressed you out. How is that going?
Well, I'm kind of recover now, you know. The struggle is still there, but I don't like saying me alone support man. You're a Man U fan too.
Who?
You!
I try to United, man. I ain't got support on one local football thing. But people, listen up. Tonight is going to be a very, very exciting show. We have some special guests on. We're going to talk about and delve into some pressing topics because the man 433 press have some things to talk about, people. And we have some people that would definitely have to press throughout this show. But as you join people, once again, smash up that like button. By the way, Merry belated Christmas as well. Merry belated Christmas to the Canyon and Premier 7 and the lovely viewers as well who have, supported us throughout this year. However, before, me kickstart and chop up everything, I'm just play the intro for you guys.
No matter where you do, you know, say that we can't stop. We stand up and salute down to the yellow, the green, the black. And make them know.
Yo, Eddie Vision TV. Big up yourself, Eddie. What you do with Mr. Arsenal? I would say no, I'm going to introduce you as Martinelli, Eddie Vision TV. Once consistent and then no longer consistent, but you might try to find the consistency again. What you do over the left hand side there?
Yeah, everything good. Bless up.
Yeah, man. You don't know a big United fan there in our place. Me, myself, and Premier as well, a United fan. Biggest club in the world, most successful club in England as well. Not every club can say them of a Champions League, You hear me, Eddie?
Yeah, me I hear you.
Yeah, man. Not every club can say them of a Champions League. What you have to say about that?
Yeah, you're right. But not every club can say them go undefeated. So it's a debate you can have forever and ever. There'll be things that I have over you and you have over me. That's a football.
Yeah, I know you're not going to draft for that one still, People have some more special guests who are going to pass through the building, but I have Eddie now, Premier 7, and they can, once again, people, before we get started, just go ahead and, smash up that like button. End of year review, people. Smash up the like button. Hit the subscribe button as well. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. We're going to talk about Bailey, Leon Bailey, and what transpired this year, as well as at the end of the year as well. Mason Greenwood, the updates surrounding Mason Greenwood. We're going to talk about Jaime Algrimson, Steve McClaren, Rudolph Speed, Kaim Dixon, and some other players as well, and situations surrounding the Reggae Boyz as it is coming to the end of the year. Today's the 28th. Again, people, Merry belated Christmas and a happy early New Year to the lovely viewers and watchers of the separate channels as well. Thank you for the continuous support throughout the year.
Yeah, big up yourself for the 2K. Yes, Jimmy. Do you get the 2K when? Today or yesterday?
I think today,
It's been a long time coming. You see me after on cancel the youth and the youth fall back. You see me? So man. Up move.
Yeah, man. So what we basically want to kick it off with, where's Eddie?
Now I say up yourself.
Yeah, man. Bless up. I want to kick it off with I could delve into the Leon Bailey matter first, because at the start of the year, going into the Concacaf Nations League semi-final against USA, Leon Bailey was the man, the talk of the town pertaining to the Reggae Boyz team, and him voicing his opinion on the popular platform. Let's be honest. So let's just revisit what Leon Bailey had to say about then.
Yeah, because right now, this is also what I want to let people know. I'm actually giving the national team a break. It's been a lot on my body. It's been a lot on my head, mental upstairs.
Now, Eddie, at that time, back in March, before the game, I think the game was played on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Bailey, or that interview was released on a Wednesday leading into that game, a big game against USA. Already a depleted Reggae Boyz squad due to suspension, especially in that front three. Nicholson didn't play in that game. Mikel Antonio also didn't play in that game. So it was a really depleted squad for the Reggae Boyz. You know what I'm saying? But it was a big game that we had to play at the end of the day. Now, Bailey doing that interview with Jeffrey, saying that, share your thoughts on that situation back then in March. What were your initial thoughts when Leon Bailey said that?
Well, I must say that's the second biggest interview of the year. You know, the first one is a cartel one, but that's different. But obviously, you know, it was very surprising, that interview, and the timing, as you said, the timing was not perfect. Just a couple of days before the big game. But we knew that he most likely would not have made it. But to come out and say that, and you're keeping a party and all of that, and the reasons behind him not making the trip, it split the fan base, for want of a better word. It split the fan base, and he got a lot of haters from this. He lost a lot of respect, and it divided the fan base, and that we didn't want that at that time leading up to the game. Also, he rubbed the players a wrong way as well. The players were not with it, and it divided the squad as well. So it was not a good move. It was a negative on all parts for me, and I think that interview could have come out a long while after the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, even at that time as well, before the interview, Leon Bailey was a fan favorite amongst, you know, the Reggae Boyz fans, a large percentage of the fan base. And, you know, when that was done, the interview was released, you know, obviously, you know, him talking about the whole security issue, you know, people can, you know, basically walk up and put camera in their face. I don't know if he was talking about Ryan LFC, because Ryan did a famous interview with Bailey after the Canada game, you know, which Ryan, I'm not going to say he did put a camera in front of his face, like just push it up or whatever the case is. And to be fair, Leon Bailey did.
I'm going to tell you a secret. A meme attack.
Are you?
Many people wouldn't know that.
I when you put push up camera in a Bailey face.
If you go back, no, I never in them face. If you go back, one of my training video them when we did do.
Yeah.
I don't remember which camp. I think it was a camp before that. So I went up to all of the players and I asked them a question. So I don't know if that was the situation. But I got from good sources that he was talking about me. So it wasn't Ryan or anybody else.
Okay.
So the world will know that now.
Yeah, people, you know a secret now. Eddie Bailey that talk about. They can, you know, the ever passionate gunner. Bailey, you've made countless videos on Leon Bailey expressing yourself, oftentimes using the words punk, flop, party dolly. What you have to say about Bailey and that?
You got bad man in yourself, and you call man party dolly. You never call man party dolly.
Alright, but what you have to say about that famous interview there?
But yeah, bro, generally speaking, when it just happened, I always take time for just like easy back and just meds before I talk. You see me? Like, not because something happened, you normally see my post a video right as it's happening, especially if it's very controversial. Normally it take me 2-3 days. I look and see where some people in the space say about it, and then I just get on my thoughts to make a video. But sometimes throughout the video, you see me just go off and just forget about my thoughts and just start go rampant. I think that is what did happen with the Leon Bailey situation. At the time of the video was very, very immature. You see me a day before the game against the United States, and it's not the first time he's done it. And when we know say the timing was purposeful, was back when we played in the Copa America game, which was fast forward. Remember the moment them lose, the moment we lose, this brother go post training pics with the cool emoji, the glasses emoji on his face. You remember that? After the Copa America lost, I don't remember which team we lose to, brother. Brother, he man even wait, but as the whistle blow, him man drop a picture of him, brother. You see me? So, earlier this year, Leon Bailey, I don't know if this a demon take over the man or something, brother. You see me? But
I think with that interview as well, before we get to premiere, I rewatched the interview before, we fought on the live stream, and I think it was calculated in the sense that he stated in that interview that he wanted to make it known that he wanted to take a break from the national team, and if he's not going to do it via his social media platform, then he needs some other outlet to do it, in which it was the interview with Jeffrey. You know what I mean? And me even watch it, and I kind of realize how highly Leon Bailey think of himself, which nothing is wrong, but Leon Bailey really thinks that the national team is centered around him, and it's no longer the case. Again, he used to be the fan favorite for a lot of fans, and people, they kind of put up with him lackluster and poor performances, and people used to find enough excuses over a period of time. But people like me and you and other individuals, we kind of realize, Leon Bailey is not that guy for Jamaica, or who he thinks he is, or who the agent thinks he is. Premier 7, let me get you on. I don't remember you making a video, Ricardo. Big up yourself, so get you making a video premiere. But share thoughts on that famous interview with Leon Bailey back then.
All right, so of course I did a few videos on Leon Bailey, and relating directly to the interview that was being done, I think it wasn't the rightful time. Even though players do have the chance and the opportunity to share their own thoughts about a team, a coach, or whichever way they want to look on things, I think when Leon Bailey did that interview, it was somewhat one-sided in his favor. I did not make it be a big issue to me, though, by way of coming out and cuss the player, all of those negative things. But for me personally, I think because he knows that he have that leverage or that privilege to do, I don't want to say do what he feels like, but he would have that leverage in comparison to other footballers in the national setup. And for him to utilize Jeffrey as the method of delivering such, I think it was a negative for the national team, because we all know that Leon Bailey was, maybe still is, one of the favorites for the national team. But I mean, when we're professional footballers, we have to be very much careful as to how we go about in doing things. Because for me, Leon Bailey has been very much inconsistent for the national team, as all of us would know. So to do something like that, it was very much incorrect, But at the end of the day, we hoped that when he took the break, he would have come back and deliver, but it was really and truly the same thing. So, I mean, for Leon Bailey, I am not sure where his mind is right now, but if he should come back again, then we're hoping for the best.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, with the whole Bailey taking a break thing after rewatching the interview and even initially watching it, I think it was down to the fact that it was a suspension. The coach did say that he wasn't going to call him back due to the fact that he did break curfew. And it's kind of weird. It's almost like I'm a principal of a school and I suspend Ricardo, and Ricardo say, well, I go stop for the school, or, he never go show up at school the next day. I mean, regardless, you're suspended. You know what I mean? You not coming to school the next day doesn't change the fact that I'm going to suspend you because you did something wrong. Ricardo, big up yourself.
It was also weak from the coach as well. Because remember, even though he was suspended, the coach did call him back and say, all right, I did suspend you from last year, but you can come. Yeah. And then that kind of give Bailey more strength to, all right, like what you said before, it was a case of me suspending you and you saying you not come. And now all of a sudden it changed to me wanting you back, but you still not come. So it kind of make the federation look weak. It kind of make everybody involved, especially on the Jamaica Football Federation side, including the coach, look weak. So then go back on it and allow Bailey to kind of have this strength over them. You see me?
I think that leads into...
One sector, and just before we get Ricardo on, another thing as well will happen was, a whole lot I don't remember, but maybe even Butler as well did I encourage him. Because Butler did come out in an interview before Jeffrey interview dropped and before we did know about the Jeffrey interview. And basically said that Leon Bailey is going to come out and have his say. Them time they will never know about the interview as yet. See? So that is where my video did come in when they say, I'm sick and tired of this bullshit with JFF, Butler, Bailey, everybody in the video, they were crowning flat. You see me? Go through.
Yeah, I think it leads into the point as well that he kind of emboldened Bailey in the sense that because the squad was depleted going into that USA game, you initially saying that you're going to suspend the player and then kind of going back on your word, him kind of have the power. Is that player power thing there? So Ricardo, well gone.
Yo, bless up on yourself, brothers.
You know, I support the same team in the card. I know so I go through it, but as Amorim said,
nobody got to stick to Bailey.
all right, I'm not going to say. What you have to say about Bailey and the famous interview?
You know, say to be honest, with us as well before I come out here with the Alice Gunners through my TV, and I just think that it's out of character, to be honest. You know, he was frustrated a lot of things, you know, internal stuff that, you know, happened in the JFF. But go back to what Eddie said, you know, they pushing a camera face. And I was there, right, in that lobby in the hotel in Canada. And I don't think Ryan ever pushed a camera in Bailey's face. I don't think that ever happened. So it has to be something different, you know, where he was talking about. But I don't think in that particular space, no one pushed any camera in his face, you know. But to what, you know, Premier said, you know, the J first, it's just wrong, you know, to do it with J first, that outlet. You know, J first is someone that probably built his name newly with, you know, for the last 2 years with toxic talk. You understand? So I think he probably would have go with probably a more profound sports journalist, you know, to carry out that message. And then Bailey did that interview with a lot of loopholes in his interview where he like, okay, a question signed, but the question that, you know, he asked himself, he didn't even answer it. And then Jay First himself don't even build on that or even try to get into his skin. I said, Bailey, why? What happened? You understand? So I think if you probably go to a more profound journalist, he probably would have carried the interview and the message a lot more better.
But the thing is,
for
as
me,
well,
the biggest thing is just he was just out of character and frustrated with other things internally and within himself.
But the biggest thing as well with Jeffrey, if you watch Jeffrey, him no follow football. You see me? Him say inside of Madrid, but him no watch Madrid. Him say it all the time, say he really watch football like that, bro. He's not a football fan. Yeah. So it very difficult, as you say, you were right. You're not going to get the right follow-up questions to dig deeper into a situation and force Bailey into certain answers or through questions. You see me, from a man like Jeffrey. Jeffrey literally just did it. Here say him have some things we more to say, and Feeney I light up, kind of know say, yo, a whole heap of traction.
It's more of a friendship thing.
Exactly. So Leon, him now going to take the role of a Piers Morgan for pressing and say, all right, yeah, we ask a question. He must have to sit back, relax, and just allow him to talk. Because that is what, having Leon Bailey speaking and saying everything where they pan him hard, that is going to do more for him than him challenging Leon Bailey. You see me? So you're right on the point, bro.
But
I just want to say something. Sorry for you.
Yeah, go through.
As what the Kanye mentioned, the name Piers Morgan. I think Leon Bailey would have realized that. Remember, Cristiano Ronaldo did an interview with Piers Morgan at one point in time, discussing what was taking place at Manchester United. And I think I won't say directly that was the thing that pushes Leon Bailey to do such, but it could be an influence that promoted Leon Bailey to that ideology to say, all right, since Ronaldo can do something like that, I can do the same thing because he's more exposed to such actions, right? But I mean, as what I've said earlier on before, we want the best for the national team, and if Leon Bailey should come back, if he's available, then we're hoping that he can do well.
Yeah, but moving on still. Now, after that initial interview, you know, Jamaica, we had USA to play the day after. As again, you know, depleted squad heading into that semi-final of the Concacaf Nations League. And, you know, we played USA, played a good game, you know, ended up in a victory to the United States of America, 3-1. However, we went on to play Panama, a team that we tend to struggle against, beating them 1-0, the only goal coming from Dexter Lembikisa in that game, the right back for Jamaica. And we finished third in the Concacaf Nations League. Now, Ricardo, I know that you are a traveler when it comes on to this Reggae Boyz team. You were at the last game over there in Kansas when we played USA. Back in March, we played them in the Concacaf Nations League. I think you even mentioned that you were supposed to go to that game, you know, if I'm not mistaken, and some flight mishaps then. What were your thoughts on that game against USA? You know, losing to them 3-1 and then heading into that Panama game and beating them 1-0 to finish third.
I think when you look at the players, you know, you said earlier we're missing in action because of internal issue, you know, suspension, you know, injury. I think that was probably the perfect squad, you know, to play the US in terms of when you're trying to set up a team tactically, you know, the US at that time, you know, it wasn't our best team in best time of shape. You know, they were going through their own stuff as well with their coach. You know, the coach didn't really know if he's going to be around, you know, coming in the Copa America and all that, you know. But again, tactically, I think the team set up really well. I think the team, you know, disciplined. But the few opportunities and that big moment that we create, you know, with Ronaldo Cephas, I think that one-on-one, you know, opportunity that he got, I think if he probably had took that, probably would have go 2-0, you know, I think it would probably have been a different game. You know, but tactically, I think Coach Emir Grimson set up the team really well. And I think the players that he started on the pitch on that night, you know, in Arlington, they suit him as well. They were disciplined behind the ball, you know, the midfield. Stellar work, you know, to keep away, you know, the likes of McKennie. And I was just asking myself, how long can we set this barrier, you know, to push back the US midfield? But as soon as they brought on Giorena, you know, at the back end they brought on, you know, the Coventry man, Adjuride, it just opened up a different gap in the midfield, you know. So I think when you look at the US, you probably say, yo, look, they deserve it because they start to push more and more. They start to play to go dynamic in the last 50 minutes. But I just think we should have get over the line. It can't concede at that time, you know. And then the ball that Tavon Gray gave away, you know, in the defensive third of the US half, I don't know what he was doing with that ball. And then right after we concede a set piece, and you know, here goes the Korberg, you know, most devastated moment of his career. You know, but yeah, I think that's what happened, man.
Yeah. You know, it's a very unfortunate own goal from Korberg. But in terms of, you know, the Reggae Boyz being compact and keeping the USA out, we did that perfectly. And, you know, the goal kind of came from one of our own players. And, you know, even throughout the whole 90 minutes in that game against USA, I can't remember really any moment where they were in on goal where I was like, you know, that's a good chance for the USA to equalize or anything like that, you know. But as soon as they made those subs and, you know, we gave them the lifeline, then, you know, obviously they went on to win 3-1. Eddie, thoughts on the game against USA? 3-1 loss.
Devastating. I think that's the first time we saw the defensive side of Coach Grimson. And that's the first of many games because that went on into the Copa America as well. But defensively, you know, we were down to the bare bones. So we had to play defensive against this USA side. And luckily for us, we got an early goal, something to defend. And that kind of helped us short the 90 minutes. But, you know, football go already. One mistake, and we saw that at the end. And then in the extra time, as him said before, you know, we got overpowered. At that time, we had on too much defensive players because the substitution, we kept putting on defenders. So when they played the extra time, we didn't have anybody to go forward. So we were literally doomed because we were set up to get the 3 points in the 90 minutes. We never set up to play extra time. So it was all out defense for carry for the 90 minutes or whatever stoppage time. Complaints could have been made that, you know, they play too much stoppage time, but it is what it is. Unfortunate Korberg and we. So right there, I know the game was over when Corey conceded that goal. I know it was over, but a good fight from the team. And as I said before, that's the start of us really becoming defensively sound and hard to break down.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair again to the Reggae Boyz team, you know, it was a depleted squad, so we never have that depth on the bench to kind of make those changes. And I said, you know, from the first whistle, we did set up defensively to go all across the 90 minutes. You know, USA bringing on Giorena, as Ricardo mentioned, quality player, Hadji Wright as well from the championship. You know, it was only doom from there. So for the Reggae Boyz team. But we're going to get to the Panama game soon. People, you can share thoughts in the comment section.
Don't forget about the chances that we had, by the way. So we did have chances even before that to finish it off. Cephas getting both of them in on goal. I see Eddie post a video about Cephas being a potential Anthony replacement. No, I'm still conflicted. Not sure we're getting a Cephas, but I'm still conflicted with Cephas. Yeah, he might deserve a start now for his performances last year. And in a previous show, I did give him Player of the Year. But as I said in that show, him getting Player of the Year wasn't really because of stellar performances. It was because majority of the team were crap and below par. And with his appearances off the bench, he came on and showed some level. And the fact that he could get Player of the Year, right, with the level of performances that he had, just goes to show the type of performance that the entire Reggae Boyz team had for the whole year.
Yeah. It was a spark coming off the bench, something that we didn't have, and it brought a lot of excitement. So I can understand why you would want to give him Player of the Year.
Yeah. And people can leave your thoughts in the comment section as well pertaining to that game against USA. We're doing a recap, so share your thoughts. Your thoughts when in that game across the 90 minutes and extra time. Premier 7. Let me get your thoughts on that game against USA.
All right, so it was a game of Jamaica being unfortunate because we realized where the goals came from for the United States. I mean, we understand the psychology behind Jamaica versus the United States, knowing that each time Jamaica plays the United States, regardless of the type of team that USA put out there, Jamaica more so will lose. The game wasn't a bad game for the Reggae Boyz up until that dying moment. I mean, we understand that Jamaica doesn't have enough depth in terms of quality compared to the United States. So if we are going to play too deep or very much defensive, we're going to invite the United States to come on us with, as we mentioned, Wright and the other players were. So from that point on, and once a goal has been conceded from the Jamaica perspective or from our end, then it will motivate United States to pressure us because, as we know, we're not as good as the United States. But the thing is, I was really and truly out. Oh, it's like I received a low blow when I saw that.
Why?
Go on, side man.
Why? Why?
So I was at work at that point in time as well, and the internet wasn't picking up as to how I wanted it to, so I was back and forth. So I say when I check the game, I say Jamaica lead, you're gonna win. Booms! One goal and win up lose. So as a Jamaican fan, no one would want to see Jamaica lose because to beat a big team like United States, it would have been a massive victory for us. But then again, we are yet placed on the unfortunate end. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Dukanyo, I mean, you kind of share your thoughts, but you want to add anything more? No? All right, so we could get into the Panama game. Can just run through that quickly in terms of, us finishing third in the Concacaf Nations League. Panama, a team that, Nicardo is familiar with. I always hear Nicardo talking about Panama, especially those Central South American, well, not South American, but more Central American teams. Nicardo will be Panama 1-0. Dexter Mbikisa wonderfully striked ball at the goal, scored a brilliant goal by Dexter Mbikisa. And I've watched previous shows across the YouTube space in the last couple of days recapping the year, and we talk about the goal of the year for the Reggae Boyz. I think that is definitely up there in terms of the quality of the goal and the importance of the goal. Thoughts on that game against Panama?
Panama, I always, even though for the last couple of head to head, we haven't been on the positive side of getting good results, but I always have this thing about Panama where, because if you look at the team now, they are still at the finished product. I think they lack that end product, under the Spanish coach, Christiansen. But I just think that with their physicality as well, we want that, we want to feel, the players rushing right on our shoulders. We don't want to see interchanges, just like what G Arena did, being just a little bit dynamic off the bench. That will give us problem. So I think out of all the Central American teams that's in the Americas era, I think Panama is the only team that played a little bit close to us. So we understand that style of play, the brutefulness, the aggressive, but it's just that they kind of develop from at a younger age and, the players and locally, and when they come in the JFFs in the Jamaican system, that they're a little bit more technical on the ball. But in that game itself, I just think that we could have been a little bit more open. It's Panama. This is a team when you look look, we just made the curve beating Canada, in 2023, and we're looking at the next step. So Panama was a team that is on the verge of probably the third best or the fourth best team in the region. So I think we should have gone a little bit more open, play a little bit more free-flowing football. Especially, again, Boza came in, Demargre came in. I just said it. The team was a lot more disciplined with those players out of the team and not Emil Vims on, you want to play the US game. No, our players are back. And you see what happened. Panama got a few opportunities, but the team weren't disciplined enough. And we got a goal, and I think was it a Michael Lecter pass from the back? Gave Dexter Lemekis that ball, I don't know, something like that. But he opened the gap in the midfield. But when you look at it, the Reggae Boyz team, we scored, and that was just it in that game. That was just it. I was hoping for more. Panama team gave us a little bit more on the ball, but when they look, the boys can't do nothing with the ball. We have like, I just look at it. We have around 10 touches in the Panamanian box. They had over 30 in our box. So you could see that. Look, the progression of the football, it was just too stagnant. On the back foot. And I just think we should have played a little bit more open football, more structured going forward, especially with Demari Gray and Boza coming into the team.
And I think that those set of games is where the birth of we need an attacking midfielder came in. People start calling for Maggie from then all through it until Copa. People start calling for Ravel from them all through Copa. I think that was the contributing factor, those sets of games that made people really want to see that creative play on the midfield.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. But moving on, so we had the World Cup qualifiers after those two games against USA and Panama. Now, obviously, the goal for Jamaica right now is to get back to the World Cup. We haven't been to a World Cup since 1998 was the last time that we went to a World Cup. Qualified in 1997, right, under René Simões, the Brazilian well-respected coach across Jamaica and across the, even Brazil as well, to be fair. So World Cup qualifiers, the most important thing for JFF and their agenda is, getting a structure in place, getting players in behind the door to, for our coach to make a team to get us to the 2026 World Cup. And as me say, yes, you need visa for come to America, whatever the case is, but listen, the World Cup is being held in America. I mean, I say no man must go jump on a banana boat and follow over, but if Jamaica qualify people, then might as well jump on the boat and just go over Florida and find a way back at Jamaica, because it's a big thing. You see me I say? So World Cup qualifiers. No, people, we all know that the Jamaica team is not blessed with, attacking players and the messes of the world, whatever the case is. But we played in the World Cup qualifiers against Dominican Republic and Dominica as well. Despite winning those two games, performances, especially in the first game against Dominican Republic, lowly ranked team, it was not good, especially on the attacking forefront. Dikano, 1-0 game to Jamaica. Thoughts on that game? Because I think that was a very depressing game for me.
I don't even think it was depressing. See if I never saw the game there.
Yeah, they play good.
You say play good, but what's your definition of playing good against these lower ranking teams? You say you want to dump up them team here. We also want to kill these teams, but when we get opportunities to do it, we not do it. So see if us using his pace and threatening the team, going in on goal 3, 4, 5 times in that one game, and not scoring from those opportunities. That no means saying we have a good game. To me, the game wasn't that good because you created a chance for yourself to finish those goals and you never do it. I don't think that game was lackluster for me. I think we created a whole lot of chances.
In the Dominican Republic game?
Yeah, the Republic game. Go back, go look, see if us himself alone get around 3 chances when he could have scored. Zine, in on goal. Right? And that is the reason why specifically the second match, I'm here arguing to say I'm going to start against Dominica. And we all saw what happened in that game. That is where, that game specifically is where me look on it and say, see if us cannot start against a low block. And I'm here arguing to pick up that from the first half because as second half starting, sub him off. It was a halftime change. Because we had to be playing against a low block team in Dominica. We literally just sit down and break it. Come like some prep school thing there, watch brother. We get a whole lot of chances in that game as well. Shamar Nicholson, Kareem Dixon, even though he scored on the day, had a lot of chances. We created chances, but we just never did score the goals and win the games comfortably, right? So in that specific period, I don't think the games were boring. I think I enjoyed the games, but it was lacked a cutting edge. So you remember the Dominica game? The match we done almost.
The Dominica game we created a lot of chances, but even allowing them to kind of allowing them to kind of get back a foot into the game. I mean, we shouldn't be allowing that. You know what I mean? So I don't think Eddie, what you have to say?
Well, which game?
But the two games in the World Cup qualifiers, starting off with the Dominican Republic game at Stadium.
The damn rep game, they poor, you know, for me.
Yeah, man, they poor, man.
They poor because we created chances, but we couldn't score. And one lucky break from CFAS down the left-hand side. Cross, I think Bowser scored that goal.
Yeah, Nicholson scored in that
tap
game.
The tap in, yeah. The only clear-cut chance we got. But apart from that, the build-up play wasn't great. We had possession of the ball because Damret sit back in the lower block. So I don't even know what to think about that. We were still kind of iffy going forward. The second game we played a little bit better with the handbrakes down. We were leading at 3-0. We were leading that game, you know. And Dominica came back, scored 2 late goals and put us under some pressure. I was impressed with Dixon in that game. Dixon scored. Bowser scored. We missed a lot of chances at the same time. Bowser could have easily gotten an hat-trick. The same with Kaim Dixon. So those 2 games showed us that we were lacking up front. Even though we scored 4 goals, we could have scored many, many more. And should have. So it kind of gives us some hint in going forward in terms of our attacking play because we're unable to put away our chances against weak opposition.
Yeah.
And I think that was a problem for most of the fans, you know. We expected to score goals and we didn't. You know what I mean? We failed to put the easy chances as well. So it's not like we were under much pressure. I think we were complacent in the second game, leading 3-0, allowed them back in the game. But, you know, part of the thing, and you know.
In the Danrek game, you know, CFAS created 3 chances. Bobby Reed created 3 chances.
3 chances, yeah.
CFAS had 4 shots. And them 4 shots we him get apart from, bro, them 4 shots we him get a good quality winger at least a slap with 2 of them. Because him cut in and him just couldn't finish. So that's what I say we created chances in the game and the scoreline was flattering for Danrek. You see me? It was flattering. So I wouldn't say the games were poor. It was just a case that the finishing was poor. And those games highlighted huge problems. We had finishing issues.
And at the same time, Damrep created chances as well. So they could have scored.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And so we had finishing issues. We had a midfield problem because Casey Palmer was just not it in both games. Karayan Anderson never really show we that much in the games either, and he had game time. Right? And that game also shows that CFAS can't play against low block, and that is the reason why I'm on the bench for majority of the game.
Him they get sub early, I believe.
Sub for half time because I said it even the match before against Dunrick. Give him space, him can attack it. I mean, it take long time to press up. But if you give him a man for beat or give him 2 man for try and wiggle around using technical ability and close dribbling, he cannot do that. He's not that type of player. He needs green space to run into. And me and personally have the argument they on the channel over and over. I don't know how long how females
Me and you?
Yeah, brother, can you pick up for CFAS? I said, what you mean CFAS can't dribble? What you mean CFAS just... Come on, brother, you know you're scared.
When him do him knock it past you and make you say, all right, exactly. Make a race. Him knock it past you and the faster man get the ball.
Yeah, brother.
Before we get Ricardo on, I could just take a quick pit stop, pull over the Formula 1 car. People, please, thank you for the continuous support. Merry belated Christmas. Please go ahead and smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Leave your thoughts in the comment section as we go along for this yearly recap. So far, going good. Ricardo Media House. Let me get you in on this one. Damrep and Dominica. My opinion is that the Dominican Republic game was poor. Remember the much chances with Dikanya and anything we did create. The Dominica game, I think was much better in terms of chances that we created, especially more clear-cut chances. Thoughts on those 2 games, and then we get Premier 7.
First up, the Danrep game. Look, I have to say this, man. The Danrep, they have more passes in our own half than we have more passes in their own half. That will show that, look, that game, those 2 games, the 2 Dominica team, Dominica and Danrep, show me that the Reggae Boyz, we are far, far away from playing possession football. This team is a counter-attacking football, stay low block and hit team in the transition. I think that is the best way to try to play any big teams in this region, because you can't tell me that, this coach, Marcelo Navarrete, the Argentinian coach that is coaching Dominica Republic, got the formula and how to keep the ball, as much as they didn't really have more possession than us, but when they have the ball, they actually played a little bit more structured, dynamic, and have a little understanding of what they want to do. Meanwhile, we have DJ, we have Kira Anderson in the midfield. You know, Bobby Reed didn't really do much in that game, but DJ and Kira, especially Kira, he got his moment in that game. A lot of us were calling, you know, for Kira to get some game time, see what this youngster, you know, have, you know, how he can fit in the system, but it just didn't work. You know, and then playing, you know, Antonio and Boza up front, it was just stagnant, you know. Mikel Antonio was trying to drop a little bit too deep. You know, Boza, he was trying to drop a little bit too deep. So when a player to make that forward run to actually try to stretch the back line a little bit, it just didn't there, because at times, to be honest, I was there. And when Mikel Antonio picked up the ball, he actually pulled at least one out of the three that played in that back three for the Danner. And he pulled a few out of position. Boza do it a few times, but when those play happen, nobody is running off the shoulder. Nobody is running through the channels, and the team is not a position-based team. So structure, we didn't have the chemistry and the formula and how to break the lines, you know, through those Danner team. And then again, you know what, you know, the brothers on the panel saying, look, CFAS just cannot play it in our low block, and goes to that. When I watch, you know, some of the games that CFAS played in the Turkish Super League last season, his team, you know, played low block. His team come up against team that played low block. But guess what? They have a plan. They have a system for CFAS. They actually give CFAS moments where he's going 1v1 at defenders. And if he's not getting 1v1, he's actually getting ball played through the channels where it's just a quick 10-15 minute yard sprint. You know, who first? And you know CFAS not going to lose that race. So if we can actually find that system that Ankara Gucci is using, even now in the second tier of Turkish football, I think it can be really vital to us moving forward by him in a little bit play in the number 9 position, not permanently but temporarily. I have nothing to say about the Dominica, because that was just atrocious. It was just terrible. Because teams like that, bro, we should be blowing away teams like that. So I have nothing to say about the other Dominica game. We won, but that's...
Before we get to Premier 7, me here mention Mikel Antonio, and you know, we all heard the news about Mikel Antonio recently meeting in an accident as well. So speedy recovery to Mikel Antonio. Hopefully he can stay strong, make a speedy recovery. And you know, obviously in this time of the season, you know, I know that families around him and everything will be alright surrounding Mikel Antonio. So I know say me, Gunners, Eddie, we send our best wishes to Mikel Antonio, as well as the viewers as well. Premier 7, those two games against Damrep, not against Damrep, but Dominican Republic and Dominica. Thoughts on those two games?
Alright, so for me personally, I was of the impression that Jamaica would have been playing better football there after the Concacaf, let's say the Concacaf Nations League. You know, we defeated Panama, we got a 3rd place. So I was of the impression to say that, yes man, Jamaica will be on the rise. But surprisingly, Jamaica was as average as the two teams that they played, the Dominican Republic and the Dominica team. For me personally, it showed to me that Jamaica needs a lot more in terms of structure, tactics, formation, selection of players. Because as we speak about CFAs, not all games will he be effective in. So we have 12 players in the team that will be versatile. You know, not all players will do well in low blocks games. Not all players will do well in a high position game. So for me personally, the two games were an eye opener for us as Jamaican fans, seeing that we thought that Jamaica would have blown away those teams. Of course, the game that ended 3-2, we received a lot of opportunities. Kaim Dixon missed a lot, Boza missed a lot. And I mean, let's be real. If we're playing football, let's say even scrimmage football, and we are all defenders, once we're doing the work and those persons who are up front being the strikers are wasting the opportunities, then eventually the other team will have a chance to score, and more so a goal will be scored. So for me, Jamaica needs to improve drastically in regards to how they apply themselves in different conditions, in different atmosphere. Because if we're going to draw again, if we're going to scrape a win against Dominican Republic and Dominica, that means that if we do qualify for the World Cup and we're placed into a tough group, for which I think we would be placed in, then we will be blown away. So there's a lot of work needs to be done for the national team, and I am hoping that the rifle players will come in, whereas a system will be seen and developed so that we can win some games more convincingly.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Moving on, we're going into the Copa America, right? So Copa America, the big tournament for the Reggae Boyz team. And I think this one was special in the sense that we qualified for this one. The previous ones we did, it was by invitation, right? So this was a very special one, seeing that we qualified for this Copa America. Now, obviously, the biggest of the teams in the world of football play in the Copa America: Brazil, Argentina, who else? I mean, Ecuador can talk about almost every other team in South America. You know, big teams in their own respective rights. Chile, they've won it on a couple of occasions, beating Messi, even beating him into retirement as well. You know the way they. So we're heading to the Copa America. So the only games that we played before the Copa would have been against USA, Panama, and the 2 games against Dominican Republic and Dominica as well. So we're going to the Copa America in a group with Mexico, a team that we're accustomed to, Ecuador and Venezuela as well. Many fans for the Reggae Boyz team, you know, they had it to say that, you know, it's a group that we should make it out of. Some fans basically said that, you know, them being realistic, said that, you know, we couldn't make it out of the group. Eddie, thoughts on that group and the Copa America for Jamaica? Because that was a reality check within itself, you know.
Yeah. But you mentioned so we get invite previously. I think that's still good, you know, because why them never invite Trinidad or Grenada? Is a master presser. So to be up there, to be even considered to be invited, I think that's still good for us. So we can't brag about that, the invitation. But yeah, the group, it was never a group that we're going to come out of, if we're going to be honest. I don't think we'd ever come out of this group. Having previously scored 0 goals in all our Copa America games. It wasn't good for us. And I think we were unlucky in. I'm just going to sum up the group in general. I think in games we were very unlucky with referee calls. Also unlucky with one game was a 1 goal, I think, or a deflection. So we were very unlucky, but at the same time,
you think we're unlucky in the Copa America, Eddie?
No, I'm going to finish. Let me finish in certain aspects. But the bigger picture is that we went into the Copa America, and I said earlier that Al Grims in the semi-final of the Nations League, he started the defensive style of play, which continued throughout the summer into the Copa America. And I think that's where most of the problem was. Yes, we were defensively good in certain parts of the games, but that limited us going forward. And eventually, the dam going break, and that is what happened. Pressure bust pipe, so we can't see the late goals and silly goals. And that trend continued throughout the Copa America and eventually cost us all 3 games. We got lucky in one of the game, and I think which one of the game? The Ecuador game, where Mikel Antonio got a goal. I think that was the closest for us to even get a point. Which one of them the VAR made a mistake?
No, Mexico, I think.
Remember, VAR gave a goal, a penalty. They should have given us a penalty.
Yeah. I believe that maybe the last game or one of them game there. But you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so we were very unlucky in that game. So I don't think that was down to us. I think we played well in that specific game. I don't know if it was. I think it was the Ecuador game.
I think it was probably Ecuador.
Yeah. Mikel Antonio scored. So we did well in that game. But overall, defensively, we played the style of play didn't match up. Yes, we were defensively sound in certain aspects of games, but as I said before, eventually pressure bust pipe. And that is where Al Grimson got a lot of stick. That is where the Al Grimson out chance became louder and louder in that Copa America. For me, and we might get to it earlier, but I think that he could have stayed, but we all know that he had other plans, that was taking place in the backstage.
Who that? Mikel Antonio?
No, man, Al Grimson.
Yeah,
I think we might get into that later on.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get into that. Nicardo, Mr. Passionate, one of the most passionate fans when it comes to Reggae Boyz. And anybody who have flight to give them the people, really, is a super fan of the team. Copa America, heading into the Copa America, you know that Jamaicans, you know, we love our team and we can tend to be unrealistic at times. Personally for me, I didn't expect Jamaica to make it out of the group, but I wanted us to give our best account of ourselves. Thoughts on that Copa America campaign?
You know, before the games, I did some work, you know, with some radio program, you know, with Ecuador and Mexico. And, you know, to be honest, they were very optimistic of what the Reggae Boyz could bring to this group. You know, Radio the Quito in Ecuador, you know, their prediction that the Reggae Boyz will go through with Ecuador in the zone because, you know, Ecuador at the time, you know, playing really good, you know, Venezuela, you know, excellent, you know, after the World Cup campaign. So, you know, that particular media house in Ecuador, they have us to come out of that zone. Meanwhile, you know, Azteca Radio in Mexico, actually, kind of a little bit iffy, you know, to give us that edge over them. They had, you know, Ecuador and themselves, Mexico, supposed to go through. But, you know, they still have that optimistic of the Reggae Boyz could have gone through, you know, could have gone through in that zone, but it just didn't happen. And when I look at the Mexico game, you know, I think we kind of play really well defensively, but then again, you can say, look, that team, you know, under Jamie Lozano, you know, one of the worst Mexican team, you know, in their footballing history, you know, in recent times, you know. So I wouldn't really surprise that, look, they couldn't break us down. You know, a lot of changes, a lot of players were missing, you know, after roster for Mexico. So it was a little bit depleted squad, more local-based players, you know, but we just didn't do nothing ourselves, but try to stick behind the ball. You know, we never really tried to hit them on the counter. I don't know what we were really playing, you know, throughout the entire Copa America. But my prediction, I think that, look, we would have probably get a win. Is it that it was going to come against Mexico or against Ecuador? I just didn't see us beating a Venezuela team because that was one of the most uprising team in South America at the time, you know, under the Argentinian coach. So if you're talking about the Ecuador game that we lost, you know, Eddie said was the Inicapia shot that he took. Was it Palmer? That was the own goal, that the ball that deflect over Jamal Wade head. That scored in the first 10-15 minutes of the game, and that kind of threw us off. But otherwise from that, bro, in that game, nothing really. We didn't really do nothing. You know, the Venezuela game, the last game of the group, they just balled us off the park. You know, this guy with the Afro Bielo, you know, Soteldo, you know, Salaman Randon, we just couldn't match up to their physicality and their technical ability. You know, Venezuela is more of the Panama in our region. You know, they played it a lot more bruteful, you know, aggressive, you know, but on the ball, they're very good. And that also came in alongside the new coaching staff that they brought over from Argentina. You know, so I just didn't see us winning that Venezuela game. But the Mexico game, I was saying, if we can get 3 points in that game, it would have set up us really good to actually do something against Ecuador to get out of the zone. Because, to be honest, Felix Sanchez, the Spanish was coach in Ecuador. He wasn't that top class. You know, the players weren't listening to him. I speak to a lot of Ecuadorian people, and they're listening to him. They don't want him in the country. He's trying to bring tiki-taka football. Meanwhile, the Ecuadorian fans were look at what the Argentinian coach is doing at Venezuela. We need something like that. And what happened after the tournament finished? He got fired. So I think if we probably get something from that Mexico game, would I get something out of the tournament?
Yeah. And I think if everybody's supposed to make a reassessment, and even after the Mexico game as well, a lot of individuals, a lot of fans for the Reggae Boyz, you know, they had to say that that's a game that we really and truly, we should have at least walked away with a point in that game, because it's not like the best Mexico team of old. You know what I'm saying? It was a really, really weak Mexico team, and, you know, Jamaica should have gotten a point out of that game. And one thing I realized what Jaime Williamson did in this tournament, every time Jamaica maybe go down by a goal or two, him kind of open up the team even more, whether it's by, you know, his tactical instructions or whether it's by a substitution and then the tactical instructions. And then we see Jamaica start play a bit more open, and we're like, you know, why want to play like this from the start of the game? But then, you know, it's a really, really defensive coach that we had at that time.
I agree with the one. Remember,
I mean, the game I was score with Antonio, the team opened up, and we see Palmer and people say, yo.
The first match who could have win. Which one was that?
Mexico.
The Mexico one. Remember, that was a match who did a call for Cephas from early, and him take off a winger and put on a centre back and we concede. Remember that was a match where he got defensive instead of choose for. Remember what was happening was that Mexico was attacking and pressing us, and we were already in a defensive state. And instead of drawing for Cephas and using him as a weapon, because this is what we did say about them. I don't know if you remember, Eddie. Using Cephas as a weapon to pin back Mexico, knowing say yo, them have Cephas there, them can't make them win back an attack and push you up too much. Because if we have Cephas there, them know say we can catch them all. Instead of doing that, he made a defensive change and put on a centre back and we concede right after that. So, brother, it was just very annoying. My recap of that Copa America, because I did have to go through the fixture list a while ago before I could speak about it. Because it do too, you know, like how they have this thing in a psychology, like when you go through some deep mental distress, you kind of block it out, so it's like you need to remember it, bro. Somebody have to really go look back to try and jog back my memory for one mother tournament. And Algrims remember this where the man named Punk come in, brother. And from them time they make videos say I'm a coward in the youth.
Yeah.
You see, the guy was a coward, he was a punk. Him did clearly have plans, as we see, with other federation for go. And his body language in the tournament was something completely different from our normality. His tactics was lackluster. It was just not up to par. It's that big thinking punkhead Grimson coach was the issue in that competition, brother. We could have
before we go forward,
we could have gotten more out of the Mexico game, brother.
That's
you see, and just speaking about it now, I'm gonna get dark, brother. Cause the man they are weights man, the big man thing, bro. And if we got and I heard Eddie say something, right? About the competition, him not really thinking could have go far. But which other table you want other than the table that will say you're gonna make a push in our Copa America? Look on the rest of the team, them will miss out all of the big guns. Them no Colombia, no Brazil, no Argentina,
no Uruguay,
no USA, no Canada. None of them make a team there, bro. The team them will go far as well. The Canada will go semi-finals. Whenever they have to face an unformed team like that or an informed team like that. This, I was saying, and even the coach himself said, this is the perfect setup for a group because anyone can go through. You just need to make sure say you win that first game. That first game was of utmost importance. And the fact that we lose that first game 1-0 and the tactics then was so stupid we could even walk with a point, it was just downhill from there, brother. There's no better group because I had faith and I had belief. So if we could have get a victory against Mexico, which is somebody that we are familiar with.
Yeah.
The best thing is to play Mexico first. We are familiar with them. See? And getting a point from them would be more realistic than getting a point from South American outfit what we're not used to. See? So I was looking at that game to improve himself and get with that win. And then we can assess and even try to grind out a point and use that wave. And we know that this Reggae Boyz team work off a wave. See? Use that wave to try and even qualify for the second one. Somebody did not go in there and think, say, we're lucky to be there. As one person said, we qualified. And we had the most favorable group a man could ask for. Somebody that go in there expect to qualify, brother. And that's somebody gets a dark man business for qualifiers. Him come to qualify for World Cup. But they don't want him out. Because from March till qualifiers until Copa America, may I see the same bullshit. And it wasn't just on the field, it was off the field as well. The same way in suspend Leon Bailey and I call him back and beg him to come back from March. And then even before Copa America tournament, this one bag of mix up with having Leon Bailey name on the squad list. And then everybody at here saying now come. Him and whisper name reach on the list. Right? For the whole of Jamaica see. And then out of nowhere, Bailey come out again and say, me never tell them to put him on the list and one bag of mix up and blame. Brother, from you see a club or a federation or anything is in that sort of level where things just have be a mix up drama and all them things that it's time for a change to be made. You can't change a coach, you can't change the players, you can't change the federation, so bring in somebody that is more respectable, that will command respect from players. And from day one, Grimmy never really have that, which was respect from the players, especially those British-based players. Which is why, in my opinion, lastly, the federation not only went for Steve McClaren because of his links to England, but also because of his pedigree, right? Two international players. Everybody knows Steve McClaren. Everybody not gonna know Punk Grimson. You see me? So he will automatically demand that respect by just walking into a room. You see me? So those are my 2 cents.
I don't think nobody.
First of all, can I say something else?
Before I go forward, come on, get Premier 7. Say quick and then get Premier. But one thing I have to say, I don't think Steve McClaren have no pedigree, but go forward, Ricardo.
All right, so, Group D, with Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, and Paraguay. Look at how, Gustavo Alfaro, not the coach anymore for Costa Rica, but look at how he get the best out of a squad that probably the youngest, I think the second, third youngest team in the tournament at that time. You would say that was like an under 24, under 25 squad for Costa Rica, and he beat Paraguay, drew with Brazil. Look at how he got the best out of those players. Look at Bolivia, bro. Pound for pound, we have more quality, but their coach got the best out of that squad. And look at how they're performing now in World Cup qualifier in their region. So when you look at some other little smaller teams, the coaches get the best out of them. But what happened with us? What happened, with Emir Grimson and what, Gunnar said? What Steve McClaren did, he walked through the door, and his presence alone demand respect. But Al Grimson, he just never showed that real leadership and that passion coaching our team. And you ask, like, is he there for the easy pathway to get to a World Cup so he can get a bigger job? I don't know. Or he was here for the money. There's question to ask, amongst the federation and who appoint him. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Premier, what have to say about the Copa America campaign?
I mean, there is a lot to say about the Copa America. But for me personally, when I saw the group, I wasn't of the impression that Jamaica would have qualified. But as what Dikanya mentioned earlier on, we're used to Mexico. So we being used to Mexico, that would be like an easier chance for us to even get a point. Not Colombia, but Venezuela. I thought that we could have got a point against Venezuela, but I was certain that Ecuador would have been a tough game. When I was watching Ecuador in the World Cup, I saw that they were a powerhouse. Even though they weren't the biggest team in the World Cup, they had huge potential. But the thing is, that Ecuador game was Jamaica's best game. I think Nick was speaking about the fact that the Venezuela game, they just blew Jamaica away, and that was true. I was left distressed when I was watching the game because I was thinking that Jamaica could have done better, seeing that we had a squad that persons believe them could have do a good job or next to a good job in the Copa America. Regardless of us losing, we wanted to see the improvements of the national team. But it's like you're going up a hill and going down a hill. That was how Jamaica was performing. And for me, I wasn't convinced about the coach, not from the get-go, but going through those games, because I realized that whenever you want to get a victory, you cannot just go defensive like that. You cannot be the team that has conceded a goal, then you want to be defensive. What are you defending? Are you leading the game? No. You want a point, you want a victory, you have to start to attack or do something whereas you can create a few chances. So, I mean, the national team is in deep waters for me personally, because it doesn't matter who we have in the team. I think the chemistry is still far-fetched. So, I am hoping that 2025 can bring a huge difference.
Fair enough. So moving on, I get the kind of thoughts on this and Nicard, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So the departure of Henry Hallgrimsson, I think there was one occasion where he did wear shorts. I one of the game them. I think it was in the Copa America, right, Eddie? I think it was in the Copa America, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was the qualifiers before. I think it's
qualifiers,
Dominica.
yeah.
Dominica
people kind of make a big deal out of it. I never really made it come. I just care about the team and them are win. But people kind of say him out of it from then, and then the body language and whatever the case is, and even the body language after the whole Copa America tournament from Mr. Hallgrimsson, you could see that he was kind of out of it, and he announced that he would be stepping aside from the post as the Reggae Boyz coach. Now, one of the big questions surrounding Henry Hallgrimsson was whether or not he was a success for the Reggae Boyz team. I mean, listen, he was brought in to qualify us for the World Cup. However, he did not stay to see us through that. But in terms of my opinion, I think for the time that he was there, I think he was a success in the sense that he created a structure that somebody else could have walked into and kind of them not have to build from scratch again. So Ricardo, in terms of the departure, Mr. Algrimson, the dentist, thoughts on that when you first heard the news?
Look, I think I heard it a day before it really broke in the Jamaica space. I was listening to one of your favorite, and his radio program, Simon Jordan, but the departure of, Emir Al Grimson, it was really a surprise to me because, and I was looking at, look, your main job is not to really get us into the knockout round of the Copa America. The main job is to get us to 2026 US, Canada, and Mexico. So I was like, what really happened? Something went wrong between, the Nations League and the Copa America. I think something went wrong there, between AIM players and, the administration that run in the JFF. I was like, oh, how can something really fall in so quick? Because look at the heights of how we praise him in the first game of the Nations League against US, came third. I was like, okay, there's a bronze medal there. There's something we can build on. Let's brush away, the two Dominican team in the World Cup qualifier and try to do our best, do the utmost best. Try and maximize the potential out of every individual players in the Copa America. So when we go up to the next tournament, it will probably have to be more easier transition, knowing that, look, we just come up against the big boys in South America. But the departure, man, it was shocking to me because I was expecting him to lead the team again coming September for the rest of the international games. But what you said, that he kind of leave, as he said, a little data system. You just said, he leave a structure where the team play defensively, but us fans, we don't really want to see that. To be honest, we don't want to see that. But it's a foundation that he left, and I think, it comes in play now with the committee, Rudolph Speed and his boys probably could have hired probably somebody close to that, and then he go the opposite way to someone that want to play on the front foot, want to play position-based football. So it's like a building over again in less than a month. Because when we played those games in the Copa, it was less than a month before, I think exactly 4 weeks before we play the next game or the next, international squad to be called up. So
yeah,
I mean, it again, you could use it appointment, it could be different or it could be better, if you ask me.
But even pertaining to arguments, I think it was a combination of things even before like the World Copa, the squad announcement and the whole thing with Bailey and Craig Butler. And, if I was a coach, I would have been annoyed and pissed off with that. And I think there was, I don't know if it was Simon Preston that did an interview with him. I think it was before the Copa or around the time when the squad was announced. And if you look on arguments, you can see the man was annoyed with the whole Lee and Bill situation. I think we all remember that interview. I just threw me can't bother to find the video. But Eddie, when Algrimson departed, because you're Mr. JFF, Eddie. So you probably did know from him.
No, say that.
All right. We'll take it back. But when him depart, was it a surprise to you? And thoughts on the departure?
Yeah, it was a surprise because even though persons were calling for his head, you would think he would go so soon, and that's just right after the Copa America. But as the days passed, we realized that it was being scouted by the Ireland FA, and so apparently they had enough on the table, and it was in the back of his head from the Nations League pretty much. And as it went closer to the Copa America, I wanted Copa America money. JFF wasn't having that. So it's a lot of factors that led to his departure. The money that he demanded, I didn't get. The whole situation with Leon Bailey, the JFF on a whole. And Al Grimson is a man that spoke out. You ask him anything about the field, the conditions, he's willing to talk. So the JFF never liked that from morning. So I think there were some inside things going on that the general public were not privy to. So all of those factors led to his departure. And for me, I think in the little time, yes, he was brought to bring us to the World Cup. But I think in the little time that he stayed, it was a success to some extent.
Yeah.
In the third place medal. Because who would have thought? When November,
when we were down, us beating Canada as well, that's something that we have to.
Yeah, prove, down in the first leg, heading to Canada, nobody, would have thought that we'd win that second leg and qualify for the Copa America. So you have to say kudos to him. A lot of persons will say Damon Lowe win the game, but at the end of the day, you still have to give him credit to allow Damon Lowe to step into midfield.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of progressed because we saw Damon Lowe playing in midfield time and time after that. So it was somewhat of a success. Brought us to another Copa America. We got a goal in the Copa America. So, and
Well, first goal in the Copa America as well.
the first goal. And he always said, from the day one, him say, I want to leave the JFF better, leave the team in better stance than when he came. And I think he did that. The establishment of a proper database that was in place. And just the squad, just a settled squad with settled players, the same players playing the majority of the games. So the new coach can come now and say, all right, then let me look back on previous games and say that XYZ is always playing. There's a core. So he really developed a core of players and a pool, a broader pool, so that the future coach can select from. So I think it wasn't all doom and gloom.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, to the arrival of the man himself.
I'm get to go, bro. I'm gonna get to go.
Hold on. Hold on now. The show is structured. I mean, the host, you know.
You gotta say punk. Punk. You know, you gotta say punk.
I don't want to. Oh, my bad. Oh, something for play. 1 second. Something for play, man. Let me just play quickly.
Give Halgrims a rating, actually.
Brother, negative billion, brother. Halgrims go piss off, brother. Negative billion, you.
Alright.
Give me that meat rider. Everything, brother. I want to say some things about it, brother. I see you. But the man a coward, brother. Man a coward is a punk. Coach Grimmy Halgrims is a punk, brother. Coward.
0.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, so that was the kind of after the whole situation with Jaime Halgrims. But moving on now into the arrival of Steve McClaren. Now, obviously, people, when Jaime Halgrims departed, everybody was wondering who was going to be the next coach. Miran Gordon, was there going to be a return of Tapa Whitmore? Maybe we could have seen Ricardo in the dugout, I'm saying, Eddie Vision as the assistant. You never know, MG Sports as the technical director of the JFF. You never know, people. So there was a search for the coach, and Mr. Rudolph Speed was very vocal, and kudos to Rudolph Speed as well. He doesn't hide anything from the respective YouTubers. That's one thing I can say, and the general media as well, especially legacy media, whatever the case is. He spoke about that. There was going to be a selection of a coach before the September window, I think it was, and before sometime in August. And, there were many coaches linked to the job, coaches from South America, Europe, Dwight York from Trinidad was linked with the job as well. Many fans stated that they didn't want Dwight York. I remember Mr. Rudolph Speed coming out one time and said, Dwight York must probably interview himself because they've never interviewed him. But Steve McClaren gets the job. He's the man leading the Jamaica team right now. And that was a surprise to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Dickon, you and I did a live with Mr. Rudolph Speed, and he said that the coach would have been a surprise. And boy, it was a surprise in terms of Steve McClaren leaving United, the assistant manager, to Eric Ten Hag, who's now gone from United. All glory be to God, praise God, and praise Jah. So, Steve McClaren steps in. Premier, Steve McClaren, you're a United fan. You're familiar with Steve McClaren. And I'm going to get to myself as well, but go through. What do you think about the Steve McClaren appointment?
Well, I mean, at first, when he was the person who was given the job, I wasn't the person who will just run to say, yeah, Jamaica gets Steve McClaren, because I think as a United fan, I would have been in that mindset to understand that names don't really make a lot of sense at times. So I checked out what his coaching career would have been like, and it wasn't really much impressive. He was in charge of England, he was sacked, and he was in charge of some lower tier teams. I think he was successful in Netherlands. But linking him to Jamaica was a surprise, because I never thought that he would have been of that mindset to come to Jamaica initially to become the coach. But when I checked more in details, I realized that he has some form of knowledge about the Jamaica national team. So I was thinking, all right, since he knew about the Jamaica system, then he will come in and make an impact. And I have to point out what Dikanya mentioned earlier on in terms of pedigree. If we should compare Steve McClaren to an Halgrims, of course, Steve McClaren would have pedigree just by way of looking at him, because you understand that he was at Manchester United and Manchester United was very much successful when he was even there in Alex Ferguson days. But I mean, as I've said before, it was surprising to see Steve McClaren leave Manchester and come to Jamaica. The results that we're seeing right now, it's like a 50-50 for us as Jamaican fans. We're not fully convinced about his style of play, but the initial arrival was surprising, and I think a lot of us was grateful.
Yeah. Decanio, Steve McClaren appointment. Thoughts on that? Man, you do countless shows about this, and
Yeah, bro.
I
I'm
was
still,
very
I'm still reserved. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Anybody could have come in apart from Grimmy at that point. So anybody else will come in with more experience, better pedigree, more feel free to give that person a chance. And I'm still giving Steve McClaren a chance. Him do a few things I'm asking for do, like bring in Ravelli when never playing. And a few other things as well will make the Reggae Boyz keep the ball a little bit better now. I can see if we add a few pieces to the jigsaw, especially a Mason Greenwood, how his style of play would really come into fore. I think it just needs to be a bit more cutthroat. You can't tell me say you don't know your best team now. You can't tell me say you don't know this or you don't know that. But if you see next year or this year coming, you have a Ravel Morrison playing. You make Casey Palmer know say your spot is on the bench and you need to fight back because you're not show me no, right? And you make some tough decisions, which if that means you go play Latibody in the rightful position and bench Lick Salim Dickey, so you do that. Because we know Latibody cannot progress the ball and it makes no sense to have a Latibody and Isaac in the midfield. So there are certain things that he needs to do, which would really just show how imposing he is. I'm looking forward to those stuff. But for right now, I'm just sitting back, relaxing. Nothing so far away piss me off. I'm say, oh, yeah, you see me. So for now, I'm just reserved. May I allow him make him do anything for now.
Yeah. Before we get to Ricardo, in terms of my opinion on Steve McClaren, everybody know that it's not that I wasn't happy with the appointment, but I wasn't gloating over the appointment due to the fact that this has been an individual that has been fired from multiple jobs. And, people did tend to disregard that, saying that, him win trophies or whatever the case is. I mean, listen, Doc Rivers won the championship with Celtics from way back when, and him still talk about it up to this day. And I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but he's not a coach that's going to win a championship. So I'm not saying that Steve McClaren is not going to be the coach to qualify us for the World Cup. But, there were a lot of question marks surrounding Steve McClaren, especially, the time from his last job to the time when he was appointed as the Reggae Boyz coach. Was he still up to date with, football in general? Because sometimes, football can pass it. Jamie Carragher with the famous saying, leave the football before the football leaves you, leave management before management leaves you. And oftentimes that happens to a lot of coaches in football. People did talk about the fact that he was successful at United. One thing that I was not happy with was since we acknowledge assistant coaches and when the team win a trophy. I've never heard people talk about Arteta winning the Premier or whatever FA Cup with Pep Guardiola. So for me, Steve McClaren, he's here now. Fair enough. I'm giving him a chance. I am impressed with him so far. However, he need to stop this thing where him kind of go back on him more than he's not clear. One example was the Bobby Reid thing. Come out and tell the people that Bobby Reid was injured. You tell the people them say his wife is expecting a child. Fair enough. But then you come out and say he was injured. I mean, we all knew that he was injured from before, etc., etc. Ricardo, thoughts on Steve McClaren appointment? Because you did kind of takes one time one away and you say, oh, person, I have to kind of go easy upon Steve McClaren, man.
But look, my expectation the first time when I heard it, I was like, whoa, this would have been a big figure, to walk through the door at JFF and, to coach, these talented players that we have in our system and in our selection pool. And I was like, I think, this man can do a really good job. And what he have done, in the first couple of games, what I saw, it kind of settled the ship a little bit. The atmosphere, around, it seemed like it was a little bit toxic, of what him here I've had, in the earlier stages in that year. So I was like, okay, this guy can calm the nerves. This guy, showed something that, look, the team can actually play a type of positive football. But we are far, far away from that. But the intention, just by the intention of his first couple of games, he showed us that, and we have had troubles in the past playing teams, on Central American side. We just cannot win in those areas. It's hostile. That you don't get a lot of time on the ball. Everything, the pitch, everything, that surround, playing in Central America. And he have done what no coaches have ever did, beating Honduras, beating Nicaragua on their home turf. You understand? Honduras team that you could say, yes, not the best, but it's always difficult to play those teams on their own pitch. So he kind of calmed the nerves down. But when you're talking about a figure that will spearhead this Reggae Boy team, we have a lot of hot-headed players. From the past regime, with Tapper, with Emir, and now with McClaren, a lot of hot-headed players in this squad. And
I mean, other than Damian, no, who's the other hot-headed player? I'm missing Woodgate. Other than Damian, no, I'm missing Woodgate. Who else?
Mason Woodgate. Leon Dale is a walking time bomb. Whisper, the leadership that he's under is a walking time bomb. You don't know when these players can quit on you. You understand? You don't know when these players can quit on you. So, we have some athletic players that, look, it only takes one player to disturb a bunch. You understand? And you see it happen now with Manchester United, which I don't really want to go there. But with the Leon Bailey, how he handled in the media, that already is one bad bunch that can crash a ship itself. So this Reggae Boy team, for me, I have always said this. We need a manager that's going to be very ruthless within these players. Steve McClaren is the type of character like Emir Grimson. They are so professional. They work at the highest level, across the globe in this industry. And they expect the players should show certain leadership in terms of party, in terms of the standard in the dressing room, in terms of how they show themselves, present themselves to the opposition team on the pitch. They expect a lot of these from the leaders within this group. Now, we know that Jamaicans, if you give them an inch and take a yard, and with Steve McClaren, he have even said something close, to how he handled the players man for man. He give the players them freedom, let them express themselves. But these players, we're going to need a Diego Simeone, style, or something like a Mikel Arteta, even what Enzo is doing at Chelsea, demand it from them. Don't just leave it up to them to be professional. These players can easily walk off a cliff, knowing that if they drop, they will die, but they don't care. They don't care. So he's going to have to be a lot more ruthless within the group, be more structured within the players, and don't just give players, their freedom like that, especially our players. The boss, you're going to crash the bus. Trust me, he's going to crash the bus. So need to be more ruthless within the group.
Definitely. And I did a video recently talking about the lack of passion from the team, especially now and the coach as well. I'm not quite sure if McClaren lacks passion, but Minosa Algrim said they definitely lack that passion. And they kind of did do a video, a little mini documentary about the back-to-back finals in the Gold Cup. And I was looking at Winford Schaefer, for example, and Winford Schaefer was really animated. He was on the touchline, getting in the faces of the players and showing that passion. I'm kind of want to see that more from Steve McClaren. He's normally a man who will sit down and get red, but when you say get up on the touchline, which I've seen him do on a couple of occasions, him kind of get on the touchline and shout instructions. And I want to see that a bit more. Under Hallgrim, we never see that, and it kind of reminds me of Tenag when he was at United and just kind of sit down on the bench and not really care. I don't know how the players would have understood what to do. But moving forward, because we kind of wrap up now, in terms of results, right? Honduras, USA, Nicaragua, Cuba. We're not go through all of them, but the most the standout results would have been against Cuba and against USA, more so the USA. But listen, guys, we play against Cuba, then we get a red card and we struggle to score a goal. Eddie, poor game. Well, not poor game. We created chances but failed to score. Thoughts on the first game under Steve McClaren, and then you can talk about the USA game, and then we get to the rest of the panelists.
That was it. That was a nil-all, right? At the office.
Yeah.
But, first, to touch on McClaren. When he came, I wasn't so. I wasn't happy.
Really?
Remember Rudolph's speech saying that we're getting a modern coach and a coach that we'll all be excited about.
Eddie, I news this to me, I never know so never happy.
So me never really so happy. No man, me say it from videos already.
Me never so happy. On the program I am say it already, man.
Me never so happy because me never so excited. However, me I go work with him. You understand? Me trust the process. I've seen slight developments, and we have a style of play which is very hard for us to instill in the players, but we see little bits and things. We kind of on the right track. right? But at the same time, though, press at the same time, we need to be able to win games at home. And going back to the Cuba game, we struggled to break down a Cuba side that we should have beaten, really. So that's the thing. Going into 2025, he need to know him best team, know his best 11. I don't think him even close to his best 11. Him don't know it. Because that can be seen in terms of his substitutions. Games we see where other players should have started and him have them on the bench or come off. His thing is that we have closers. But I think some of those closers should be starters.
Yeah.
But that's for another day. But Coach McClaren need to win him home games and find his best 11.
Yeah, man.
And if he don't do that, we're not a problem.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the home games as well, you know, the Reggae Boyz and JFF, they have stressed in terms of getting fans back into the stadium. And the only way you can reward fans is by scoring goals and winning games, especially at the stadium. And, you know, 20,000 and
Yeah,
so,
and
you know.
The fans are coming out in a presser.
Yeah.
And Jets. But eventually, if we don't say anything to cheer about, we're going to stop come out.
Exactly.
Even if it is to that,
line.
when the team them for the Jamaican them ready to play, if we have to put sin for run them belly so we can score a goal.
Yeah,
we have to do it. We have to score a goal. You see me as so we have to find some means and ways to score a goal and not only score a goal but win the game then because listen man, the people them call for the fans them and the fans them short now them numbers, especially with 876 stream coming on board. They've done a wonderful job in terms of marketing the team and putting out posters and even though JFF page better, people interact with it more. So people definitely give the team them support. So the team have to repay the fans by, you know, winning those important.
And in the stadium too. The last game against United States. Normally a bleachers will never get grandstand the time. But we make sure say grandstand never did, brother. You see all the booze them on here, brother. I start up them booze when police step on the ball, brother. When police step on the ball, I start up them booze. The atmosphere all around the stadium they up, brother. You see me? That's like it hurt my soul when the man them lose, dog. Especially when they get 3 clear-cut chances where Casey Palmer could have slide in before the man them scored the early goal with Pulisic. You see me? So I agree with Eddie. We need to win games at the national stadium. We need to turn into a fortress and need to find out what his best team is. And start.
I'll get back to Eddie with the USA game there. But Ricardo, I think you went to one of those games in Jamaica, right?
It was the World Cup qualifier, you know.
Qualifiers.
Dominican Republic, the Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba. I remember say the posting point story they go to Jamaica and go to Cuba game. In terms of the results so far under McClaren, thoughts on it? 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. 2 losses against the USA, a better opponent. But in terms of Nicaragua and Honduras and the result against Cuba, what's the assessment so far?
You know, look, to be honest, my time of supporting the Reggae Boyz in over 2 decades, bro. It's the worst I have ever seen our team play at home results. You know, the numbers that turn up, those numbers, Eddie Aman, can tell you, back in the early 2000s, those were the numbers when we are playing. It doesn't matter which team come at the office. That was the attendance were okay. You understand? And to see my fellow, Jamaicans turn out to support the Reggae Boyz, something that, they have been asking for years, even go back to under Horace Burrell. The fans did it. And to go through an entire Nations League, not to score a goal at home, it's just bad for me, Presser, especially with Cuba. With Cuba getting 10 men on the pitch, bro. It's just crazy. But when you're talking about the results, I want to penetrate more on home because we did really well in Central America. Kudos to them. But at home, when you look at how Mauricio Pochettino, you could see the lineup, the way how he set up his team to play those at the office, during that time. It's a well-organized, structured US team. What he have done, in my eyes, the midfield, Johnny, McKennie, Testament, and Musa, those players are all central midfielders. That's like a Diego Simeone workman style, system 4-4-2 with, Pepe and, Pulisic could have been, the Griezmann. But the midfield 4, what he have said, look, just go there, win the first ball, win the second ball, be aggressive, don't give them any time, and be on the front foot at all time. And if you do that in Concacaf, you're going to win majority of the games. And I know for sure that the record that the US men's national team have away in this region. I think the last time they win a game, I think it was in St. Vincent when they win like 7-1. The last time they go to Trinidad, they got whopped 2 times. You understand? So he knew all these things coming into this game, and he set up his team how to conquer us on that pitch. And for a home team to go out there look like a glass, they're fragile, easy to broken, bro. To see that performance, that we're demanding more. We're demanding more at home because the people and paying hard earning money. They know it's not easy to get Jamaican people to come out to support something that is building. We more of, the franchise whenever things are going good, we start to support. But results for me so far, it's poor. That's I'm grading Steve McClaren really high. It's poor, person. It's poor.
What I say, poor?
Yeah, it's poor results. I'm talking at home. It's poor, bro.
But where do you draw the line in terms of dividing the coach and the responsibility of the players? In terms of Cuba, you could say the responsibility was more on the players in terms of putting away those chances. Jamal Lowe, etc., etc. Honduras, I think that was a really, really poor game. Poorer than Cuba. But United States got the best of us, better team. So I mean, there's nothing much to complain about in those 6 games in Ricardo.
No, Presa.
No, the home games, brother. What you are talking about, man?
Well, the home games.
And the home games that we are talking about. You notice when I mentioned
how much game we play at home? 2.
Talking about the home games.
How much game we play at home? 2.
We are talking about the home US.
3 match scoreless in all.
Yeah. So I said it. I'm talking about home games. They have done really well away. As I said it before, the Reggae Boyz is a counter-attacking team, so we will really do well on the road because those teams will come at us and leave space. But at home, Pressure, going into the next phase of the World Cup qualifier, we're going to be in danger. Remember, Panama come to the office in the qualifiers in the World Cup and beat us 3-0 when Tapa was at the end. So we need to do better. We need to do much better than this at home. And I'm grading the Reggae Boyz teams at home because when you look at the other teams in this region, they have some really, really good home records in competitive games. Remember, Canada no lose a game until we beat them at BMO Field. You understand? Mexico have a long-lasting record at home in World Cup qualifier. The US also as well. So we need to start to dominate at home, getting results. Not just play well, Pressure, but we need results at home and score. If you cannot score at home, where else are you going to score?
Yeah, because in Concacaf, it's home dominated. The home side win most of the games.
Yeah.
And all of the teams play better at home.
Yeah, God. Even look at it, Eddie.
All of the teams. So even the Mexico, when Mexico travel, them performance dip. They might still win, but
exactly. Their last two performance in Honduras, they got beat.
If we're not getting points at home, where are we going to get the points?
Exactly. It's going to be tough. So we're demanding more. We're demanding more at home from Steve McClaren. I think that's where he needs to shape up and start to understand what is his best 11 going into games.
Yeah, fair enough. But then again, I forgot to discuss the best 11 with Marion Garden. But Premier 7, thoughts on the results so far, and then we'll get to Unseen. Unseen, big up yourself. I still get to Unseen.
Well, there's nothing much to say about the games under Coach Steve McClaren. We're just hoping to see better games coming up or going forward. I mean, a lot of the players that we have right now in the team are English-based, and we understand how Steve McClaren plays his style of football, long ball and those type of stuff. So I think it should be somewhat easier for him to put across his idea and what he's about as to how we should play our games, because he's a counter-based type of coach. So the players that we have are similar. So it's just to have more time together as a unit, play some more games together. But of course, as the coach, you have to pick the rightful set of players to go out there and represent. I think Jamaica teams lack versatility surrounding the players' ability. I think the players are too similar to each other. So that is the reason why whenever we play against different teams, we find it quite difficult to beat them. As we spoke about Cephas on several occasions during the show, we understand what I'm saying about him right now. So Jamaica have a chance. I am hoping for the World Cup to be qualified for, but the coach has to find his best team and see how well himself and the JFF can come together in recruiting the best talents that can be put into the rightful system to assist us.
Unseen, big up yourself. How you doing?
Big up everybody on the panel. Persons in the comment section, big up on yourself. Happy holidays. Hope you guys enjoying yourself, you and family. Hold on.
Unseen, so hold on.
Yeah, hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear you. No, unseen.
Somebody
Yeah.
that called me a while ago.
Oh, so as me as unseen, you kind of reach late, so I just pick up from where we're right now. In terms of Steve McClaren and the results so far, are you impressed? How do you assess him in these 6 games so far? Since we're coming to the end of the year so far.
I think I'm a fair person. A lot of people go beat Steve McClaren, but I think before we beat Steve McClaren, we need to beat the powers that selected Steve McClaren. No,
That did what?
selected Steve McClaren. No.
So the pause that selected him as the coach.
Yes. So I wasn't for an English type of coach, right? Because I know the type of football they would play. But I surprised though that Steve McClaren come and want to keep the ball, which is good. But then I don't know. There's some contradiction in what he's saying, that he wants to keep the ball. NC players in areas that use the ball a lot or will get the ball a lot, and they kick away the ball most of the time. So there's but I think the same factors, like he's not going to stay in Jamaica, he's not going to live here to look at players or keep tabs. He's always in England most of the time doing that. Now, there was a particular coach before who wanted to stay, right, and they did not, outside of Jamaica, did not take him, and they're saying that was the reason why. So I don't know. It's like it bothers me there. Why not even because of that reason? No, with this person, because and it's the same thing. Maybe even worse, because that coach would be nearby, nearer than England to be in Jamaica. That's pass. But no, Steve McClaren, graded. I think one of his issue is changes or trust. I don't think he trusts some of the players, in my opinion. And I think also we need to see some changes in terms of the backroom staff. They said that they're trying to build the local coaches and you'd say give them experience and stuff. But every time a head coach change, the assistant remains. The second assistant remains, and I don't understand. Like, give somebody as an opportunity to learn as well. I just think in that area we need a better mind, and I think we have better mind in Jamaica who can take that spot.
He did bring Trevor Sinclair with him, so
No, I mean second assistant.
So what's Trevor? Third?
No, you have 2 assistants in the national team.
So what's the role of Trevor Sinclair?
First assistant, second assistant, goalkeeper coach.
Trevor deal with like fitness and everything.
Yeah, it's not an assistant. Or it doesn't classify. Maybe it's doing that work, but doesn't classify as that.
Could I find a local man?
One of the Eddie. They have a fitness coach though.
They have 2 physical trainers.
Yeah, 2 physical trainers.
Yeah, as in him deal with the drills and him. So
no,
you have somebody take charge in the training. Him take charge and the.
No, you have a youth. Him used to go don't know that him deal with the drills.
Tiga, you kind of low,
Oh, me low?
Yeah.
That's Morgan. You're talking Morgan, Nascimento.
Yeah, right. I'm stay now.
Good.
Yeah, loud.
Yeah, man, me loud, man. Me like it.
Not too loud though, but go
No, man,
You're talking Nascimento, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that deal with the drill and stuff like that. So, press it right.
Tiga, you're low again. You have to move out the mic one.
Okay, too low. Alright, me turn down back. Alright.
Yeah, 4-3-3. So I'm continue and finish, so you can go to Tigat.
Yeah.
So one that's the next issue I have. In terms of McClaren himself now and the tactics, I think he might have given to look at more players, and he could have given more players more time to see if these players fit and you know when he can make changes and stuff like that. And then you saw in Jamaica, you know, his timing and changes, making changes to keep the momentum, or just to be brave and be strong-headed and say, yo, you're not score, bro, not because you are a named baller or a big baller. You can come off of the bench. Like, you know, some of the time you have to just make that gamble, even though you know that person may pop up and score sometime. Like, me just can't understand why some of the games where, you know, Cephas never start in some of the games. Or start with the name brand player, then take off somebody, put on Cephas. You just understand. And he was like, you know, so those things kind of, maybe I'll give him a low grade, you know, like.
So if you're supposed to grade him out of 10, how much you would be? Like 5, 6?
Around 4 or 5, brother.
4?
Mm.
Backside. Moving on to Tiga, that kind of harsh, you know, man. Tiga, what you have to say about the coach so far and the last 6 games under the new coach, Steve McClaren?
All right, first of all, let me say big up to everybody on the panel, you understand? And sorry for being late. I got the invitation much earlier, but I was out with the family.
Eddie, Tiga a year boy now, him solo.
Me low again.
Trust me, you don't want him loud. You don't want him loud.
All the sound.
You really want him loud?
All
right, that better.
All right, cool. So,
you really want him loud?
Tiga, did Santa give you a new voice for Christmas? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, deal with that. Anyway,
what got you?
Anyway, so as I said, I must apologize, you understand. But anyway, for the coach, I'm trying to assess him with the last coach, you understand? And when I try to assess him with the last coach, I feel like the last coach was doing a better job. Mark you, the last coach had more time with the team. So with that being said, we have to give that coach some more time with the team. But time is something we want to have right about now. You understand? Time is something we want to have. But for the last game, this is what I try though. But when I try though, comparing with the other coach was building from defense upwards. He might try build from attack, come right back to defense. You understand? Because they say with defense, it not click like it used to click when the other coach was there. You understand? It not click like when it, but we can still try the attack and whatever. And we see him play some football. You understand? Like when we go down in Honduras a back off and we are run for the same way. You understand? We get the look of 2-1 victory. You understand? That was something really mind blowing. We see that Jamaica going now hostile place and really play attacking football. But then again, in the national stadium, we wanted the result and we couldn't get the result. And we wonder what is happening. You understand? So, you know, there and then, you know, we wonder what go on. But we have to give more time. But the grading for the 6 games so far, you understand? As we unseen say, I don't like the rule. Well, remember say I don't like the rule. They brought in when the press conference they brought in to bring in some more talented player overseas. You understand? And that was good because definitely there's a lot of good talents overseas we like to see in the squad. And then he make some talk and him say, with the younger players, them more over there, and them are going to want to look towards the England side, and them not want to come. So I'm going to go for the old mature players. That was definitely a no. I didn't like that at all because we don't want old mature players. We want players where we can play a 2, 3, 4 World Cup. We don't want a player where we can play. We struggle to play 1 World Cup. You understand? So there and then, we never like that. You understand? Yeah. We never like that. And the JFF said them get him to bring in some players. But yet still him can't get the players them we want. You understand? To make us qualify because definitely some players who have, them can't make us qualify. And I tell you God I will true. And people that say we're going to make it to the World Cup, trust me, minister that light there now. A tunnel in the dark. You understand? A tunnel in the dark. Right now for the Jamaican. I go to the World Cup.
Where they have to believe. You're coming with the negativity. Believe, man. Believe.
But with that being said, right? Because Tiga cannot bring me into the last leg of the show in terms of recruitment, right? No.
Me think I'll even finish.
Go through.
But anyway, with that being said, you understand? I'm going to give him out of 10, I'm going to give him 5. You understand? I'm going to give him 5 out of 10. You understand? But certain things with him do, it look like him know him about, but other than that, I like the ball of them want. Him not get them. You understand? So yeah, I give him a 5. Me give him a 5 out of 10.
One thing that I will say with Steve that he needs to improve on is his press conferences, because sometimes he kind of say stuff and then he say something else again and he make him look bad, like him dig a hole in himself and he don't realize, you know?
I never want to say that in the street, that big thing, and I see over 300 people I watch, I never want to call him a liar, but since you call him a liar, yeah.
No, I never call him a liar still, but we just saying he press conference, you know? But in terms of recruitment, because I know that Unseen is big on this local, overseas, T-Gat as well. Eddie is like a, where does he call Eddie now? Eddie enough with about the potential players that can represent Jamaica. They can, you know, have his own opinions, premiere also the videos and potential players that can improve the team, especially in a more tactical way. Now, in terms of this year, we were big on recruitment in terms of conversations across YouTube, across different respective YouTubers. Isaac Hayden was a new inclusion, as well as Mason Holgate. We all know that the individual that we want or who's sought after right now is Mason Greenwood. And, you know, DJ Spence more so recently, we see people start talking about DJ Spence. You know, Omar Hutchinson earlier in the year was somebody that we wanted. However, that didn't go our way. Bailey Kadamatieri turned his back on Jamaica. Quite a few other players as well who we also want to get in behind the doors to improve this team. So I'm going to start off with Eddie first, right? Now, Eddie, in terms of this national team and the new recruits so far in terms of Isaac Hayden and Mason Holgate, give me your thoughts on those players and the potential players that can represent Jamaica that you would want in behind the door.
All right. This are the spicy part. We know we're Unseen, I say already, but Unseen gone.
Yeah. Probably so far back.
Why am left at this point? Anyway.
I'm still there, man. In Edinburgh. I can be
anyway. So
I forgot to repeat the question.
Brought in, hold on, I know your time at Unseen. So McClaren brought in Holgate and Isaac Hayden. And I think those were two low-hanging fruits. Two ballers where him couldn't easily get. You know, despite people might say it was difficult to get Isaac Hayden, but he came to a point where he realized once and for all he couldn't make the team, and he was desperate for playing time. Desperate for a way out and so we got those two in. But my biggest takeaway are the players that he did not bring in. And when I say that, the player that comes to mind is Morgan Gibbs-White. I think he's a player that would tremendously help the team. And I think I was very disappointed. You getting a feedback?
Premier, Mike.
Premier.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I was very disappointed in the fact that we failed to get the signature of Morgan Gibbs-White. So, yes, I'm happy with the two players that we got, but I know that there are countless other players out there, players that I think that would make a more immediate impact.
But Eddie, in terms of Gibbs-White, I don't think that's a bit unrealistic in the sense that he was, I think, out of a lot of the players, he was closer to not getting in the England squad, in which Lee Carsley did bring him through. You know them way there. And look at this now. Nottingham Forest is a team that is flying high within the Premier League.
You're flying
that
high.
Even bolsters Morgan Gibbs-White to play for England.
Yeah, but even under Southgate, I don't think we did.
Presser, well, I'm not going to Eddie, but Presser, them never fly high when we go off. We would have gone for him. And now them start fly high. You look on the,
yeah, but in bank and in talent and in believe himself.
No, man, last year he had two good seasons. Last year he played well as well. That would have brought some attention to the player. But I'm talking before that, under Southgate, when Southgate was there, I think the JFF and the scouting team, I think they failed to put in. They didn't do enough. I don't think they did enough because I think he was one of the players that we could have grabbed up. One of the better players. And we had a midfield issue. We still have a midfield issue. I think he's a younger player, not as old as Ravel. a younger player that has a quality that would have made an immediate impact. So the players that we miss out on, those are the players that I'm more. That's where I'm more disappointed in. If I get what I'm saying. I'm not so happy with the players that were brought in. Yes, we brought in 2 experienced players, but at the end of the day, we wanted more and we didn't get it.
Yeah, fair enough in terms of that. Isaac Hayden does have a club in terms of Newcastle, but not in and around the first team. Holgate, and listen, it's kind of funny because it's almost like Oral Tracey himself talked about getting players from overseas who are they're giving us diminishing returns, and I don't want Jamaica to be like a revival church like we don't St. Elizabeth and them place there for revival player them career, because when Messi Holgate come play for Jamaica, he can get 1 and 2 give up West Brom, Isaac Hayden, he's kind of forced out. But West, Holgate for the Jamaica, and since we play him start get a good run of games, so West Brom and them type of thing there. So you don't really want Jamaica to be that kind of place where we're reviving individuals' career. Now, Ansi, let me get to you because what you said?
A player left out. Hold on, a player that I left out was Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson. He should have been a player that brought in a long time ago. No, we don't know when that happened.
Yeah, and he's injured now, right? I think he's injured now.
Yeah.
Unseen. So get to Nicardo and Tigat. Unseen. Now, you're very big on this recruitment thing, local versus overseas players. I know so you like the Richard Kings of the world, Adrian Reed, etc. etc. But I hear call for Adrian Reed not the first team yet. But in terms of the recruitment so far, Holgate and Isaac Hayden in the national team. Thoughts on those 2 players and what more we have to do with this recruitment thing? Because you can't talk about the local thing to come. I know so you're big on that. Any local players you want to see in the squad?
All right, so we make some things clear. Because the people love brand people, because they don't listen. And even when I try to make certain things clear, I Unseen Sports, I'm gonna say it clear again. Unseen Sports only fight for players who he knows have the quality to play at the national level. Right? At no point in time, Unseen Sports want 11 JPL baller or local baller, wherever, to play for the national team. I think the mixture of overseas player, whether England or Portugal or Spain or Wales, it's a balance. We need a balance. We need the best players to play for the national team. Right? However, there is a political balance that needs to be made. A lot of people don't understand. And it comes down like this. So I'm saying it clear so people understand. If you don't have a national league, you can't have a national team. If you don't have a national league, you can't have a national team. So the clubs in Jamaica are expected to see the door open for JPL players to make the national team. Let me say it again. Right? Now, that's a political thing. I mean, I don't want to get into that. That's not my thing. Now, so far, I am okay with the 2 JPL players that I saw make the team because they are the only 2. But I say really makes, at the moment. But here's 2 more that I think may or can get a look in. I think Romeo Guthrie and there's Warner Brown. Warner Brown, all of them are potential. They have work to be done to go to the next level. Other people think that no JPL player should get an opportunity in their country. They are playing the National League in their country. They're not supposed to play for the national team because they are playing in their country. And that's what I mean. So them have to hold them opinion. I say open the door for them because they never know.
I was just about to ask the same thing. I think you're asking. How many MLS players are Canadian?
No, I mean open the doors for everybody.
Yeah, but if we want to compete with the top teams, I don't think any Concacaf league itself is good enough for that international level. It's not only JPL, right? Presser himself mentioned it all of the time, saying don't think MLS is that great of a league. And it shows that. Jesus. Brother, you say it all the time, bro. No matter how. Let's just not go here. But what me I try to say is, hold on. What me I try to say is, right? The US men's national team, majority of them players play in Europe. They play for star teams in Europe, right? So I don't think it's a case where we're bashing JPL players or we don't want JPL players in the league. And the same thing for the Canadian First Division, right? You barely see all of the Canadian players or the star Canadian players, ones that bring that team in their national team setup. You just don't see it. So I think it's a regional thing where most of our top leagues in the region aren't good enough to have a team or a national team built around it, and our players have to go to Europe and go to where they can play at a higher competition or at a higher level. It's not just the JPL. It's also the MLS and other teams, like the Canada, like the USA. So I think if we look at it from that broader scope, we might not take it so personal when people say them no JPL money on the side. That's how we look on it.
No, I can't look at it like that because that's just one little thing in a little box there.
It kind of different in the Canada because with the MLS, the better players left and go to bigger leagues across the world. So that's the difference, you know. So hence they will have players to pick from. Because
but even now, I've seen videos.
The better players
in Jamaica, most of the players stay.
So why the better players from the JPL can't left and go to
exactly. If MLS players, think about it. If MLS players in a league that is higher than JPL have to leave and go to Europe in order to make their national team, why should we set up a JPL players in a lower tier league in Jamaica? To say, yo, we want to perform our national team.
Let me get Nicardo. Nicardo has been silent for a while.
I don't really think they have to leave.
Let me let through the gate. Let me open the gate for Nicardo because he's silent for a while. Nicardo, you have any thoughts on this ongoing conversation? And then get Tigat.
Yeah, I have to say, look, in the past, if I can look back on it, with the Bradley, the Altidore and all these players, Dempsey, like that when these players were in the MLS, who was the godfather for the region? Mexico. When Mexico have more players overseas. No, Mexico have less players overseas. No, America sending their young prodigy 12, 11 over in Europe to develop to be that final product where they can actually compete on the bigger stage. So now the US, they have conquered this region again because they have the better players in Europe. So now we're talking about JPL. Yes, the players are not, the final product. There's potential for them. Just like, Ansin said, Warner Brown, I'm big on Warner Brown, especially when we crown out for, number 9. I think
Thank you, my boss. Thank you.
Look, I think he can do something, but he must have that structure around him and we're going to integrate him into the setup.
In terms of
Europe already.
Let me say this. In terms of we need to talk about the levels of the teams that we're playing. We're trying to get to the USA. What is a Warner Brown going to do against a USA and Mexico?
One second though, person. That is where I'll have to pull up this Travis. You cannot say that we don't care about USA or Canada. Those are the teams that we want to strive to compete with. You cannot say you don't care about those teams. Those are the teams you're trying to play against and beat. And those are the teams that we're fighting against to be the kings of Concacaf. How can you look at that and say that you don't care about how those teams are doing stuff? And Nicardo made a very good point. When USA had majority of MLS players in their teams, or their stars were from MLS, they were lackluster until they started to get players and more of their young players in Europe. And you start to see how that shift changed. And it's the same thing with Canada. What happened to Canada back then? Remember Jamaica used to dog up Canada too, Look on all the video I posted on the documentary what they did. Remember they will thump up Canada quick and fast in a Gold Cup, But why the shift come now with Canada, make Canada reach where them reach? They have a top quality coach that has coached in the Premier League, a young coach as well. Zine? And they have top quality players that are stars in their respective leagues. Zine? The Jonathan David, such and such. So there's nothing wrong with the Jamaica Premier League. But when you want to look at the grand scheme of things, right? And what it takes for us to perform at the very high level on the international stage, you cannot do that with majority Jamaica Premier League players in the team.
Well, to be fair, none of them now call for majority of JPL players.
You can build the league, and we should be aiming to build the league, but the league where it is at right now, you can't look to that league and say, I'm going to draw from a man from the league, you have to come play against the United States, and we can expect that he's going to perform. It is too big of a gamble. You can't expect coaches with that are brought in to do a job to make those gamble. And if they want to make the gamble, who them are going to make the gamble upon? If the level that they're playing at is them not prove so them money can really do it.
And what I will also add as well, to be fair, all of us have different respective clubs, and me don't want to see United go to the championship, go buy a player for an integral position that we need quality in. And I feel it's the same with the national team. I'm of the assumption that the better players are overseas and not in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also of the opinion that whenever we play the lesser games, if we can bring in the younger players from like under 23s or whatever the case is, bring them through rather than the youngsters in the JPL. That's how me see it. Tiga, you have anything to say?
Come on, I have a whole thing to say in the rest.
But now you're not Tiga.
You not hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, I have a whole thing to say. I have a whole thing. I will go to history. The car, help with this, because I'm never need you to help with this. All right, but we go from the 98. Because we always talk about the 98 World Cup. You understand? We always talk about the 98. We go from 98. When we have the 98 World Cup, Zane and the side did it. And we are beat up the Monday. And then we are beat up the Monday. We had one of the goal scorer in another team was score. He was the leading goal scorer for the Jamaica team. His name was Paulio. And see, you ever heard the name before? Paulio was one of the goal scorers. And then you have Tiga Davis, the original one. You understand? But them couldn't go over until a certain set of players, 3 players coming at the side. Dean Burton, Fitzroy Simpson, and Paul, and what the next one name again? Jesus Christ. Paula. You understand? Goal scorer was Burton. Burton starts score from every angle. You understand? Score against US. Paula dribble down El Salvador, boss it. You understand? Fitzroy Simpson and score from all angles. So you have 3 players that come into the national side that make a vast difference in the 90th. Although we have Blacker Boyd, Onandelo, Peter Cargill, you understand? Andy Williams, Pepe, and all of them. Them ballers, they couldn't do it until 3 other ballers come in night. I tap baller, you understand? Come in night, make a difference. In the thing. You understand? It make a difference. We go forward, come back now to this team we are come. The baller them we have we are played in the JPL. Them not half good. Like the man them like how they have back then. You understand? Them not half good. If you want to tape with Andy Williams and Whitmore and all of them man, they not produce them type of skill pass. Not that me no business what name on the one card, but them youth there, not afraid like them man there. You understand? I agree, so we get some baller from overseas when they really cut it. You understand? We get some baller from overseas when they really cut it. But then they're a little bump than the players them that we play in the JPL. Them just a little above them. Not far, but a little above them than what them are playing in the JPL. Understand? So I rather use them baller there. I rather use them baller there over than the JPL ball because them a little above them. You understand? That never say about the matter. You understand? Them baller that we are carrying, yet so no and see they don't have a problem with that old gate. Then and see they have a problem with that old gate. But I don't have a problem with that old gate. Because guess what? The more game Oldgate get, and the better he's becoming to play.
Boy, I forgot disagree with that Tiga because he have a reputation from the Premier. And I don't think he's a player that's gonna. I think it's a body within the team, but I don't think he's outstanding to improve.
Yeah, but I guess what? It's other players around him, you know. Other players around him make him really look that terrible.
Really? But him terrible from the Premier League and so all that go.
You can't shake your head, brother. You have to say yes. And then they can't do them something, brother. You can't do them things.
Brother, I will give them already now.
No, and to say the more game him get, the better him go. But him cut better than most of the JPL baller them.
Him no look better than Richard King too.
Him cut better than most of the baller them.
Him no look better than Richard King to me.
Why you say that?
Because I've seen Richard King play over 20 games for the national team. And him no look better than Richard King in the 3-4 games him when playing. That's just the truth.
All right, fine.
Him no look better than Richard King to me.
All right, that is your opinion and I have mine.
Premier 7, you have anything to say about the recruitment? And then we wrap up.
Me? Premier, go on, Premier.
Will you answer the question?
Yeah, we have to talk about the recruitment. You've done countless videos on potential players that can represent the country. You know, you see you cover Loose Baker and all these type of guys. The two players that we have currently, thoughts on them and where we can improve in terms of recruitment.
Me must start now.
Yeah, go through.
All right. So far, all right. Let's give the JFFs them props because we get two players, right? Because I want to improve the team. Not to say that the players that we receive were the best options, but at least we see progress going forward based on recruitment. For me personally, I was of the impression that if it was more so possible, I would take a Ben Godfrey than a Holgate because I used to watch both of them play for Everton. But then again, we get Holgate. Um, I don't really want to be judgmental surrounding how the players are performing thus far, but as football fans, we will have our time for which we will do our own assessment. And I think Jamaica could get better players than some of the players who we have in the system. For sure, Richard King is more of a composed player to me though than a Mason Holgate. And I don't really care about where Mason Holgate was playing. Richard King to me personally is a better centre back. But the thing is we're not trying to part ways with our players. It's just that we want to have a system whereas we can know how well our coach will go about in selecting our players. Because I will still stress it. Our team is lacked in terms of versatility. So whenever we play against different teams, the same type of players are utilized and the same results will come across, whereas Jamaica will lose. Now going forward into 2025, there are still players in the pipeline that we know about. I am hoping that we can get at least a few more before the nitty-gritty part comes in, like the Mason Greenwood. But you know, for me personally, even though Omari Hutchinson, I think he's off the radar right now. Based on how he plays, I think he would have been a good addition to the national team. I saw how he plays in the Premier League, and I am impressed. Yes, he will have his bad games here and there in terms of execution in the final third, but his skill set, his technicality is provable that he would have been an excellent addition to the team. But I mean, we Jamaica needs more, but we will not get everybody in the national setup. But if I should just say who we should get right now, I would say Omar Hutchinson, even though I think he's off our list right now, and also a Mason Green. But as time progresses, let's see how well the national team will improve and how well JFF will get in some more players.
Yeah, fair enough. And as I said, we're going to wrap up now, so we kind of want to get everybody final thoughts in terms of like.
So quick.
Yeah, go through and see.
You kind of late on scene, my friend.
Go through and see.
I make Tiga earn off the mouth and I can't debate him.
Go through and see.
Both on reach late, brother.
Unseen. Go on.
So yeah,
go on.
my ear. Yeah. So as you know, Premier said about King, like the world if he's a football person watching football, you say that King is a talented player, and I don't know why, the coach. It's the trust. That's why I'm telling you, the trust thing, the trust issue. That you can see it like coach a waiter relate to make some change on him thing that Richard King is there. Like them just train. I think them train out of the match. Him feel. But I'll be honest. Them train out of the match. But when US are tear us apart, him feel and him stand up and show the world around. Right. And then you have people in the diaspora come out and I say, that's just one game. So me I say, no man, them people are wicked. Richard King play many games for Jamaica and him play good. Right? And it's just a thing that, local base player have to face. It's just life. Them have to just try them best to just step out and step out hard when they get the opportunity. So people like T-Gat can just have to say, yo, the youth, surprise me. But that's how it is, man. That's how it is.
In terms of, before we get to everybody final thoughts, because we have a question marks, in terms of recruitment, on the board right now, Rice Simpson and the JFF, they've stated that, Greenwood, all these documents, they have been submitted. However, it's just his mom who is kind of holding up the process. She needs to sign a piece of paper, and all will be fine come 2025. hopefully by the St. Vincent game, I believe it is. Maybe Greenwood will represent Jamaica by then. If not, then by the Gold Cup, But the earlier the better still. But in terms of final thoughts, I have a question for you. Starting off with Dicanio. What would you expectations for 2025 basically surrounding this Reggae Boyz team?
Just like Eddie said, we need to win matches at home, and we need to see. I specifically need a coach to start make cutthroat decisions. Specifically with the Latibodier situation, we can't have Latibodier and Hayden in our midfield together. We need if as we unseen say it's contradicting, saying that you want to keep possession of the ball, you want to keep the ball ticking, have the ball rolling, while you have those two in the midfield together. Latibodier is the one way I show, and we know saying cannot take the ball and turn. Isaac Hayden, even though it's a defensive midfielder, in the games that he has been playing, when we are below, Isaac Hayden there we are offline. So what is the point if Isaac Hayden there we are offline when we are below on him out 6? You need to have one of them in the team. Latibodier is a right back, so if that means you want to drop Dexter Lembikis and play the man in the rightful position and get in a midfielder alongside Isaac Hayden, make it work. We need to stop players out of position. No more Damian Lowe in a midfield. No more Latibodier in a midfield. Especially when we have midfielders. We have John Russell. He's a powerhouse, strong, physical midfielder. Use the man. Integrate him in a Concacaf. Him young, him at 23. He might make a 1 or 2 mistake in our game, but the entire quality of what I'm going to bring to the team, I will improve us. Use the players that are good enough. Use the players that in them rightful position and start with matches at home. That is my expectation. First half of the year.
John Ross never play a bad match for it? The corner?
Never see that yet.
So I wonder why them just drop him.
Never. No. They are saying slow, but it has nothing to do with slow, brother. The man read the game well. He is robust in physical, and football is a team sport where one man will lack and next man will let it. If John Russell is in the field, he's comfortable on the ball, he can receive the ball in tight spaces, and in physical imposing, he can turn. See it? And when he's on the ball, he can drive with it as well. That midfield alongside Isaac Hayden might not show up for the ball, but he can tackle and him have the legs can get
out. You remember the games and you remember the games before the Gold Cup and the you friendly them.
Yeah,
I think I would play Jordan now and them look aside and Astra. Him never play good in them game. Him never play good in them game.
But for competitive matches, the same with them
before the Gold Cup.
Yeah, so they kind of forgot about them boy John Russell for the next year. But I'm gonna make this kind of interesting. Accept your questions. My shorter question to Unseen Sports. Ronaldo Cephas, Mikel Antonio sadly met in an accident, and we know so he's out of commission right now. We've heard talks about Cephas playing as a number 9. Your thoughts on Cephas playing as a number 9? You think that's something that Jamaica should experiment with come next year?
Him play number 9 before for Jamaica and Cinema Grimson, and he created problem against USA. So I think he have to be out or no number 9 for Jamaica.
Hold on. Me have to stop because when time me hear certain things,
Unseen in that game though, we were playing very, 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 very low, which means Cephas had a whole lot of space.
Hold on, but not only that. Yeah, in dribble around 2 man, but the 1-on-1 chance when he get where for make we go up, pull up. What we are talking about a good game Unseen. The 1-on-1 chance when he get when he try to score the goal, up tool and him roll the ball. Not even kick the ball past the keeper or kick it wide. Him roll the ball to the keeper.
Personally, I don't think he's the man. I don't think he's the man long term. Even and we'll have to look on it long term as well, because even though Antonio is going to be out for a year, and with Antonio being out, yeah, and the thing is with Antonio being out,
to be that thing, and the people remember say, cool it, man, cool it down, brother.
Yeah, with Antonio being out, have to look long term. What's it unseen? With Antonio being out, remember how have to look long term now, because the man at 34. By next year, we're done with to look for replace him anyway, and it's a whole year I go out for. So this replacement has to be a long-term replacement. And based off how I see with Cephas so far, he needs space to attack. What about those games where we are playing on mid-block or remember, I'm have to go to him back to goal as well. Have you seen Cephas with his back to goal enough to say you want to play him in that position?
Don't necessarily have a play with the back to the goal. Come on, man.
No, we're not saying him to be a hold-up striker, but any striker in modern day football have to have something about him.
Even when you play upon the wing, you have to turn the back to the defender sometime and receive the ball.
Like a white striker.
Even if you play a white striker, you turn the back and receive the ball. So what's the difference?
No, man. In a big life, feel different. Come on.
Why difference with one somebody? Two man can hit your back one time.
All right.
So, Unseen, where your final answer?
Anyway,
I agree with Dikanya still.
4-3-3. Them interrupt me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, what final answer? You say, Coach Woody
You asked the question about Cephas being number 9, and I said to you that I saw him play in all games. I never talk about the miss or whatever, I never go down the road, so I don't know why he got gone down there. So you get what I say?
Yeah.
So
Rasta, you say him look good, Rasta. You say him look
good.
Because he created opportunities. He created opportunities. He created the opportunity to miss. And to be fair to him, 4-3-3, it was like a game that would throw Cephas in. Like everybody I say, you would throw the man of the Lions then. And him never do that bad. Him just scored the opportunity, which me upset about and everybody upset about. But you could see the promising stuff, like I said, John, you can work.
To Cephas as well. I think him scored like 4 goals for him club already playing as a number 9, you know. So maybe Jamaica must try it. But respect for your answer, Unseen. Eddie, may I give you a question? Barring Mason Greenwood and Morgan Gibbs White, give me 2 players you would like to see in the Reggae Boyz team come next season that you would like for us to recruit.
Let's go with Max Aarons and let's go with Lewis Baker.
But me I say the Lewis Baker one kind of unrealistic. Some paper issue, I'm not sure.
Well, Tarek Mitchell.
And Tarek Mitchell, who play for again? Crystal Palace. Yeah, I think them would have been some good additions.
Eddie, I move like Arteta, but I'll be a defensive signing.
Me did say Lewis Baker.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, when I talk to the boss tell me say he might gonna make me know when Lewis Baker getting papers. So I figure say it was very close. Him say Eddie, when you get the papers, me make you know. Okay. I'm link him regular and say what the latest.
Which boss that?
Easy yourself.
That's if I lose the boss.
You don't know the boss. You don't know the boss. He got know the boss.
I'm just asking them, maybe Lewis Baker the boss, you know. And T-Gat, may I give you a question? 2025, right? We went to the Gold Cup final back in 2015, 2017 as well. Some would say we have a better squad right now in terms of individual players and the talent that they possess compared to those 2 squads that went to the final. Do you think Jamaica should win the 2025 Gold Cup edition? No, you might mute it, T-Gat.
Yeah, with these current players that we have?
Yeah.
No.
Yes or no?
These current players, there's something wrong with these.
No, semi-final. At least semi-final.
Something wrong with these players that we have, you know. Pressure, there's something wrong with them players that we have. Minister the click. You understand? Minister the click. I know that we on the click, but minister the click. You understand? So, right now, me reserve on my thought with this side out. Just I watch them and I see whatever. But me reserve right now.
So your answer is that you reserve come the 2025 Gold Cup.
I can't get a prediction. This aside here.
Give me a Christmas gift, man. Give me a prediction. I have to give me an answer.
Fine. On paper, them look good. If we have a BL, we can give you a good performance. You understand? Look, right now, look at him a carry and knock. But if we have a Bailey, would have performed last season. You understand? Good that performance. We can get a good run. You understand? If the back line start play better, with Lambikisi and everybody start click again, with a John Russell come in and score some goal. Because John Russell scored their last Gold Cup, and when them score their last Gold Cup, we see them start bench him and them dash him away after that. You understand? And if we get a good forward, you understand? If we get a good forward, then we can. I can see a semi-final in the future. You understand? Yeah.
Fair enough.
Semi-final.
Premier, I give you a question. I try to find a hard question, but I have enough out of my brain right now. Just ask a simple question. Best player for you for the Reggae Boyz in the year of 2024 to close out. Best player for you.
Well, it's just my opinion. I would go with Demar. I agree. Demar, I agree. Simple.
That's a great.
What else that about the goalkeeper? What else that about the goalkeeper?
Demar agree and Blake.
Let's say I'm answering.
Demar agree and Blake.
Let's see.
Nobody else.
Fair enough.
Blakey.
Blakey for you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tiga, how about you?
good, but yeah.
All right, so yeah, man, Blakey and them I agree. Blakey
agree.
number one all the way up. You understand? And then them I agree.
And Gunners, they can how about you? Best player?
Cephas. The whole of them was shit, but Cephas was the standout to me.
You know, I said, oh, might be an unpopular opinion, but I go with the general. I don't know that bear, I'm not calling him. The general, you see me? Not General John Stones, the general that fought back. But for that joke aside, what I say Cephas, a positive light for the team every time in play for Jamaica. Obviously you have 1 and 2 bad moments throughout the game, but from the start of the year to the end of the year, Cephas has always been a positive with them start or come on for the bench. So but I give it to Cephas. One thing that I would like for us to improve next season is definitely the goal scoring. We have to improve in that department. But people, I think the show's a brilliant show. Eddie, Ford, and T got Nicardo, Unseen, although Unseen reached late. Premier 7, Dicano is a regular, the co-host, and hopefully we can do more of this because having a panel like this, it's definitely something to, get our points across and
listen
and everything. Eh?
Just turn it, bro.
Stick a pin, presser.
Yeah.
We can do this more often. We can do it as a matter of fact, right? We can do it for late tackle.
Yeah.
We want to give out awards for the year for 2024.
Definitely.
So New Year's
I
Day.
will get the punk of the year.
No, we not have them categories.
We have our nominate, man.
Yeah, so you can bring that on the panel as well. But we have Reggae Boy of the year, Coach of the year, Team of the year, and all of them something.
Yeah,
we kind of want to talk about that a little bit and give out awards. So that's New Year's Day.
Before we leave as well, people, we have the star of the year as well as the punk of the year. So I'm going to start off with the star of the year. So, we've had many individuals in Jamaica throughout the football landscape. They've done brilliantly. Kaim Dixon went to Charlton Athletic. Doing his thing right now. You have Whisper as well, who went to Chelsea earlier this year, was doing his thing. Unfortunately, sustained an injury. And they have many other individuals that did their thing this year. But, for me and the star of the year, I would say goes to none other than Mr. Rudolph Speed. Can get a round of applause as well. You know what I mean? I think in terms of what Mr. Speed did throughout this year, incredible, especially recently in the Concacaf Caribbean Cup as well. And
no Premier League with another young team again as usual. Yeah,
definitely. Appointing Steve McClaren, although him not fully responsible, but but them have the chance to play either Kansas City and or Inter Miami as well. And obviously, if them get Inter Miami, that will be a big thing for Cavalier Football Club. So we have to really commend Mr. Rudolph Speed. I think he's probably the best coach. Not probably, he is the best coach in Jamaica at this moment in time. I don't think Unseen would even disagree with that, or even Eddie or Tigat. You know what I mean? And
I thought it was Butler. I thought it was Craig Butler. Wow.
Craig Butler?
No, Eddie.
No, man, Craig Butler, youth coach, man. Youth coach. One of the youth awards, the senior team will deal with.
Yeah.
But in terms of the punk of the year, Tigat, what do you think the punk of the year go to?
That's good. Where you put you can't.
Leon Bailey.
You can't.
Really?
You can't do that, Rasta.
But maybe argument.
No, I'm not believing in that, Rasta.
Listen, I'm believing in that punk thing.
Yeah.
The punk of the year goes to Tigat.
No, I'm not believing in that.
But because of the disappointment of the year, then it goes to none other than Leon Chippy Bailey. The general is back. You know what I mean? The Leon Bailey with that initial interview. And more so his performances as well when he came back. Really, really disappointing. And I think the interview took the charts. It peaked on the Billboard charts. I get me, I say peaked on the YouTube Reggae Boyz space charts in terms of numbers. across the respective YouTube channels. You know, Leon Bailey even earned himself a whole Sky Sports thing where Jeffrey even get featured on them type of thing that them say, oh, Leon Bailey say want to go Chelsea. So Leon Bailey throughout this year found himself in a bit of hot water across the year from March comes straight back down. You know, they made the Copa America.
All right, so I'm on to January.
January. Why January will I get punk?
No. I'm saying so IT push.
No, man. Me them punk him out.
Yo, Travis, nobody with you, man. Real all baller, big up yourself. But once again, people, thank you for the continuous support. Merry belated Christmas, people. You know, prosperous New Year. Big up to everybody. You know, thank you for the wonderful support. And you know, I'm gonna say this in regards to all the YouTubers. You know, we thank you for the continuous support, people. You know, from this year, past years as well. Big up to Coach's Desk, Manning's Man. You know, Eddie Tigat, Dicanio, Premier, Nicardo, MG Sports, IMAX It, you know, you name it. This or that Sports TV, you know, everybody do their own respective thing and cover the Jamaican game in a very unique way in terms of how they know to do it. And I think one thing I want to say as well, you know, although we have differences in opinions in terms of the YouTubers and even people them in the comment section, I think there's one common goal that we want to achieve, which is Jamaica qualifying for the World Cup. You know, we know enough man when have them visa, and if Jamaica qualify for the World Cup, them go and get them visa, jump on boat and fall over and then type of thing. The man drop from sky and you drop in a stadium. So we all want to see Jamaica football. We want to see more players leaving Jamaica, leaving the JPL, going overseas. So, you know, big up on yourself, people. Closing out the show. I'm just
also want to remember, guys, the first New Year's Day, Eddie and T got awards for the late talk. Remember for June.
Yeah, definitely. And play the outro now for the people. Big up on yourself, people. Until next time, stay safe.
Yeah.